Good evening, everyone. How's it going, everybody? Man. Oh, it is so good to be live again. Oh, man, look at all the people that are here. Oh, wow. I'm going to say hi to everybody because that's what I do. I try to say hi to everybody here. So this is wild because I was going through my stuff as I was putting together my next video. And there's actually a story here, but I wanted to say hi to everyone. I wanted to say hi to everybody, and I wanted to say that I was putting together my next video, and that next video it kind of inspired this live stream, and I realized that I haven't live streamed. I haven't done a Bridge the Divide live in a month, so it's been a long time since I've gone live. Actually sit down and talk with everybody and maybe have somebody on and talk to them there. So I was a bit disappointed in myself. Apparently I was distracted. I was distracted with new puppy. I was distracted with stuff, behind the scenes stuff with Week in Horror. So I realized I need to go live. I need to do a live stream. And the video that I was working on for created content, like the next video, I realized I had to do a live stream instead. So we're going to get to that here in a second. But welcome everybody. Thank you all so much for being here. I do appreciate it. I am JL. If you are new here, I am JL. This is Bridge the Divide. And my channel focuses on bridging the societal divides created by irrationality and the irrational beliefs that follow. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Let's see who is in the chat. Let's see who's here before we dive into the nitty-gritty. Also, I have some invites out, so maybe there might be some people joining us. There might not. I never really can guarantee, but I put, because there's some people out there I'd like to talk to. I don't know if they'll be available or if they'll even see my contact, my emails. So we'll find out. But hopefully we'll have a guest. But guest or not, we have some stuff I want to look at, and I want to look at with you because it's funny and ridiculous and beyond. It's just going to hurt your brain. It's going to hurt your brain. It hurt my brain trying to do this this content video, and bad. And you're going to share my pain. You're going to share my pain tonight, and we're all going to laugh at it, and it's just beyond ridiculous. But let's say hi to whoever's in the live, who all is in the live chat tonight. Let's see who we got. We got Raven Darkstars in the house. Good to see you, Raven Darkstar. Says, damn, thought I was first. As far as I can tell, you were first. You were first in chat, so thank you so much, Raven, for being here. We do appreciate it. Peter Noddle, good day, mates. Good day to you, Peter. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Marcus Dresden as well. Thank you so much, Marcus. Appreciate you being here. Awesome to see you. I see Cal L. Cool J. Good to see you. So, wonder if Jesus will show up today. You never know, but I doubt it. Because it's that whole, it's that complicated state of non-existence. Trying to get around that. But yeah. But thank you for being here, Kal-El. I do appreciate it. UKPI is in the house, member of the Godless Army. Thank you so much. It's hello, lovely peoples. Hello to you, UKPI. Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate it. Donnie does that as well. Another member of the Godless Army. Says, hey, everybody. Hey to you, Donnie. Good to see you. Thank you so much for hanging out. Martin H as well. Good to see you. Says, morning all. Thank you so much, Martin H. Oh, it jumped on me again. I hate when it jumps on me. I always have to stay on top of it. Said the actress to the bishop. To steal from Irish Demon. Says, hi, morning, Martin H. Good to see you, morning. And Cindy Johnson as well, member of the Godless Army. Says, evening, JL and all. Good evening, Cindy Johnson. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Richard Taylor says, woohoo, I made it. You did make it. We are right here at the top. It's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, hopefully it'll be a lot of fun. Jefferson Spatchcock is in the house. Give a wave to Jefferson Spatchcock. Thank you so much, bud. I do appreciate it. This is going to be funny. Okay, so Jefferson, if you missed the beginning of it, I was going to do a created video that was answering questions. And there's a story behind this, and I'm going to get to that. But instead of doing it, I realized I have to do a live stream for two reasons. One, because there's too much in this video to do a real coherent cover, or to do a coherent created content. It would be like 45 minutes long. It's ridiculous. So I thought it felt better to be a live stream, and of course I haven't live streamed in a month. So I got to live stream. I got to get out there. So glad you're here, Jefferson Spatchcock. Hope you can hang out and hear all of it. Charlie Welch is in the house, as yo folks, and Marcus. Good to see you, Charlie Welch. Thank you so much for being here. Also a member of the Godless Army. Do appreciate it, Charlie. Mark Short as well. Hey, Mark Short. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Tony Regime says, hello, Bridge the Divide. Hello, Tony. Good to see you. Thank you so much. McKinnon Mitchell's in the house. Man, I got celebrities up in here. Holy shit. I got popular people. This is amazing. McKinnon Mitchell is an amazing channel. If you have not gone over and subscribed to McKinnon Mitchell's channel yet, you are missing out. He is the mastermind behind the epic Kent Hovind documentary. I cannot express to you. Personally, in my opinion, that documentary on Kent that McKinnon put together on Kent Hovind is the final nail in the Hovind coffin. It would almost be the documentary that Hovind doesn't want you to see. It was so meticulously thought out and put together. It's absolutely brilliant. If you haven't seen it, definitely go see it. So I would go over to his channel, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, and watch that bad boy. And watch his video on death as well. Interesting stuff over there. He does some really amazing work. So I cannot wait to see his channel just expansion event. Just big bang. We're going to get to that. But thank you so much for being here, McKinnon. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Elizabeth Sylvester's in the house says, hello, JL. How are you? Bridge of the Divide. Thank you. I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. I'm live again after a month. It's been forever, and I'm so glad to be here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate you hanging out. Let's see who else we got in the house. Oh, it jumped on me again. Why does it do that? Oh, it's so annoying. Because I'm missing people. I have to say hi to everybody. That's my weakness. Yes, may our suffering be legendary. This is true, Jefferson Spatchcock. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, let's see. Sir Little Wolf's in the house, member of the Godless Army. Thank you so much. Aru to you too. Thank you so much, Sir Little Wolf. Glad to have you here. Excellent. Charlie Wells has got my new mic from the Shills today. Way to go. Very cool. And I see Flurf Hunter's in the house. Out there hunting flurfs, but stopping by to say hi. Good to see you, Flurf Hunter. Pleasure to have you here. Says, hey there, big fella. Yeah, I am. I am a big fella. So, appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here, bud. Clive Wells as well. Clive, you're going to be... Your brain is really going to hurt when we go over this video. It's really, really going to hurt. So, it's going to be painful. It's bad. Oh, man. And let me see who else we got in the house. Scrolling. Oh, there's the obligatory ghost. Thank you so much, Clive. I do appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. All right. I think I caught everybody. If I missed somebody, Marcus Dresden. If I missed you, good to see you, Marcus Dresden. Thank you so much. Oh no, I did. You gave me the horns, so I appreciate it. If I missed anybody, I apologize, but I think I caught everyone so far. Richard Taylor as well. Yep, I think I got everybody because it jumps. Because this screen will the chat will jump and I'll miss somebody. But looks like we're good to go. So the story behind this thing. So, you guys, and I have to thank you all. I want to start by saying thank you to everybody out there. The responses that I got to the last two videos that I did when I was answering theist questions were outstanding. Were just amazing. It just made my day. I'm really, really proud of the two videos that I did. Even though the first one was a little on the long side, it was about 26 minutes long. I wanted to do a little bit of a shorter, more concise one, and that was the second video. But y'all's responses to both of those was awesome, and just was... it was the feedback that I'm looking for. It was just great. So I'm glad that y'all enjoyed those. So I figured since I was on a roll, I would go ahead and do a third one. So I started hunting around for more questions to answer. Because maybe I can find something different. Maybe there's questions out there that are not cosmology based, not physics based, not astronomy based, not biology based or evolutionary biology or something. Just basic science that you learn in high school. Maybe it's not that stuff. Maybe it's like deeper metaphysical things, like the metaphysical ontology things. So something stronger, And none of it. I think I went through like 10 different videos, and it's pretty much all the same thing. How do you believe that something comes from nothing, or where do you think consciousness come from? A whole bunch of like mind-body dualism shit and everything. So nah. But I came across this one. So, thank you, Cindy Johnson. Cindy Johnson says, I like longer videos. I know I'm the odd one out. The algorithm doesn't seem to like them. They typically tend to like somewhere in between like 18 and 20. And that one was kind of on the long side. But, I had to make sure that what I said was, that I got it across. I think I did better in the second one. The second one was more concise. And I was able to hit those points. Bam. Just Call Me Avi. This thing was scheduled yesterday, actually. And I think you appreciate you being here, Just Call Me Avi. I really, really do. But yeah, I think I scheduled this one yesterday, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know if notifications are going out. It's really annoying. If you get the opportunity, you may want to hit the bell and hit the bell again, just kind of reset it, because it seems like notifications aren't really going out. That maybe it's just me, I don't know, but there may be it's YouTube. What are you gonna do? What the fuck are you gonna do? So let me see here. So I came across a channel in my hunt for more questions, and the channel is called Choose Jesus. And the channel's not that old. It's only been around for, I think, like 8-9 months. And he typically, the guy, he's not released his name. I do not know what his name is. He typically releases videos from his car. Like, he'll sit in his car and he'll, record himself in flurf mode, and which unfortunately you're going to see. He records himself in flurf mode and just basically, it's just diatribes. It's just, that's all it is. Hey, Stellarium Celestia, member of the Godless Army. Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate it. Thank you for hanging out. All right, let me see. So, let's see, Jefferson Spatchcock says, I actually got the notification on time for once. That means a bunch of other people probably did. Good point. Yes. Martin H. Choose Jesus. Jesus, sweet toy. Hey, Turing Test 2 is in the house. Good to see you, Turing Test 2, member of the Godless Army. Do appreciate you being here. So, to dive into this thing, to give some context on this guy, like I said, he records his videos in flurf mode in his car, a lot of them. Some he records at home. He's had a couple of conversations with atheists, but when I went looking for questions, and what I found was probably one of the worst Christian trolls I've ever encountered. Well, at least I think he's a troll. And it's because of his behavior. And you'll see what I mean. You'll be like, this guy's got to be he almost seems like he's a Poe. Like you would think he's a Poe because of the way he behaves. Hey, Boomer, what's up, Chief? Hey, if you need, I saw your question on Discord. You can shoot it to me in the chat. I can try and answer it here. So that's what I thought. I got the feeling that it was about halfway through the video. I got a feeling because the way he's like this sanctimonious freaking laugh, or this pretentious laugh that he was like, how could they believe this is so crazy? And it's really, really aggravating. But we're gonna dive into this. So I will tell you this: this guy is a complete alt-right conspiratard freak show who thinks that Hollywood is a front for the Illuminati, and he'll go to like Walmart and like look for one eye imagery, like maybe a movie cover that has where it has a person with like one eye, like showing one eye to signify the Illuminati. So he does that stuff, and then he also records his 2-year-old saying stuff like "Let's go, Brandon," and he thinks this shit is hilarious. He's an idiot. Like, it's bad. I've gilded the lily enough. I think we should jump into it. So I see historical philosophers in the house. Good to see historical philosopher. Thank you so much for being here. So that's because Cece's wife banished him to the car. Yeah, this is true. This is absolutely true. So I'm going to jump this here. This is the guy. This is the Choose Jesus channel. And of course, you can see him sitting in his car. And he's got... These were questions he posed for atheists. The video itself was 14 minutes long, so I thought there were going to be a bunch of questions. It turns out there's like 3, and you've got to listen to this to believe it. So, and I'm gonna just kind of go through this, and we're gonna laugh at it. I'm gonna see your responses in there. So, yeah.
Hello, friends. So with this video, I have some questions for atheists.
Oh, and by the way, I actually I messaged him to let him know that I was going to be covering this video because he likes that kind of attention. But if I could chat with this dude, I would really love to chat with him on the live stream because I want to see if he's legitimately a troll, or if he's a troll, or if he legitimately, this is just who he is. I really, really do. Jefferson Spatchcock looks like a chubby Satanist. That's hilarious. Nano Flying Man Disciples in the house. Good to see you. Thank you so much. Yes. Oh, this guy. Absolutely. Now, this was his first. He actually did 3 videos where he asked questions of atheists, but they're all just as bad. And the other ones are short. But so I went after this one first because it was the first one that he did. So let's dive into this. Yeah, Moron Raw. That's brilliant, Marcus.
Now, this is not a debate. I'm not really trying to refute you. Just some questions for you to consider. Some questions I had to consider when I was an atheist and an agnostic. And a lot of these questions help push me to the truth.
So this was the first problem that I had. So he releases a video. He's got questions for atheists, and I get that. I absolutely get that. But this was very contradictory. It seems very contradictory to me because the claim that he claims his intention in asking the questions is not to try and debate or refute atheism, but then he also claims he was a former atheist and that these questions helped him become a theist. And so in his mind, asking these questions of other theists means that he believes that they will refute atheism. And then he puts a video out there. So what is the intention there? So yeah, he's like apparently he was an atheist, then he became an agnostic, and then he became a theist. So he ran the gamut. So automatically, it's in bad in my eyes, from my interpretation of this, it's in bad faith. Either he doesn't think about what he's saying before he says it, or he really is that dumb, or he just thinks that people are so dumb that they won't pick up on it. I don't know, but already it's off to a bad start. Less than 20 seconds in, he's already talking. He's already he's basically already speaking from a bad faith position, and I can't say that this is the truth or not. He's lying about being a former atheist, because an atheist who converted to a theist would obviously have something to provide to you as to what convinced them, and yeah, you'll see here in a second. But it's possibly I think he could be lying, just flat out lying that he was an atheist, because what he gives is just,
which is Christianity is the truth. So, well, let's get started. So, do you believe in the scientific impossibility that everything came out of nothing?
So this is a pretty basic question, and I've heard a lot. Now he calls it the scientific impossibility, and it's as far as we know, it's impossible for material to come from immaterial, to just like pop out of it, to just, except for like virtual particles, quantum mechanics, fluctuations in the quantum field. When we're talking about physical material, planets, stars, shit like that, can't just come out of nothing, can't just like pop into existence. So, and what he's referring to is ostensibly the Big Bang. Is like that the universe came from a singularity, what we mathematically describe as a singularity, and this good. So yeah, something cannot come from nothing, from absolutely nothing. So no atheist that I know of claims this. No one who is scientifically literate, especially in physics, claims this. Physics or cosmology or both. That we don't claim this. So yeah, I would agree with this.
Now, I've heard some atheists say no. Some atheists say yes. And
those atheists are dumb. I would say those atheists are dumb, or they're mistaken, or they're just trying to refute you. So,
if you said no, you don't believe that, then that's good. You're close to being agnostic. That's good.
So Clive Willis says, what about the Hartle-Hawking no boundary hypothesis? So Clive, obviously, I will acquiesce to you because you are an authority. You are an authority on this, but you're much better than I am, and there are things that you know about that I don't know about. So I will whatever you provide, and I know you have the stuff to back it up. I will give the stage to you on that in that respect. Boomer says, what I just got from jail is that all atheists think nothing comes from something. That's funny. That's hilarious, Boomer. You're a hilarious guy. KCA Randy's in the house. Good to see you. He says, show me the pencil. We're going to get there, bud. We're going to get there. Action Squad's in the house. Good to see you as well. Says, internet apologists sound more and more like flat earthers now, and vice versa. Yeah, it's getting really, really bad. It's getting bad. It says, well, he has the cracked teeth. Ouch. Oh.
Because how could anything come out of nothing? That makes no sense. That's magic.
Yeah. So he went there. Because, and that's the big thing. We'll get there as soon as he's wrapping up.
And
I know you guys are
magic.
already there.
I do miracles.
Yeah, just because he wants to change the terminology of it. His worldview, if he's I don't know if he's trolling or not, but in his worldview, God magicked it or God miracled it out of nothing. So because if God was the only thing that existed, there's only God and there is nothing else. Okay, take everything you know about QM, take everything you know about physics, and just put it out the window. Just set it aside. Just be like, here's God, and God exists, and it is the only thing that exists. Where did God make everything else? If God is not defined as that which is material, as a being of matter and energy, so where did the matter and energy come from that is the foundation, that is literally our universe? He couldn't pull it out of himself because matter and energy can't come from nothing. So if God is not composed of these attributes, then God didn't pull it out of himself to make it. God magicked it into reality. So it's just that. So yeah, he believes in magic. This is why I was beginning to believe that he was dishonest, flat out dishonest. Or I mean, he was trolling. That he's essentially trolling. He knows these are ridiculous questions. That's what I was thinking. Oh, I see the plot holes in the house. This question: if atheists have 10 fingers and he has 4, does that make him cranky? Oh, I thought I saw somebody else pop in. No, I didn't. Yes. Oh, wait, no, I didn't. Tony Regime says, I sent you a link in Discord you might find interesting, useful. Let me pop over there and look real quick. We just got closer to solving how life started on Earth. We're going to get there as well. Trust me, this dude, he touches on it.
All right. So how about, do you believe life came out of non-life?
No, but you do. You absolutely do, because God in the Christian worldview is not defined as a living entity. It's not something that's alive. If you want to go, you can go the Darth Dawkins route and say it's like this immaterial metaphysical being that is outside in time and space, and it's like this mind that this mind that grounds all the metaphysical ontology of all things, and determines what is true and what is not true. But nonetheless, God in his worldview is not a material entity. Scooting about the universe like fucking Flash Gordon. That's not what God is to him. God is this immaterial entity that is eternal and grounds everything. So if God created life, then that is the definition of life, life from non-life. Because God is not classified as a living entity. So life from non-life. That is abiogenesis. It doesn't matter where it takes place. It's either it comes out of God or it comes from the planet as a natural process. So
How could something not living create life? It didn't have life in it. Where did it come from? Like this pencil.
told you we get to the pencil.
It's not alive. How
Obviously.
could this pencil create life?
It doesn't, and obviously, and we know it's not analogous. That this is a bad analogy, and you see where he's angling towards.
Think about that. Or what about, you believe consciousness came out of something that didn't have any conscious?
No. Consciousness, as far as we can tell, is an emergent property of a working brain. That, much like digestion is an emergent property of a functioning stomach, or a heartbeat is an emergent property of a functioning heart, a functioning cardiac muscle. So consciousness, or what we determine to be consciousness, the electrical activity that presents as consciousness, is an emergent property of a functioning brain. There are emergent properties all over nature. The best analogy I ever heard for this, as far as emergent properties go, is that, yeah, I get that, McKinnon, absolutely. I literally can't stand this trend of people making videos in their cars. Unless you're homeless, knock this shit off. Agreed. Flirth mode just aggravates the piss out of me. So the best analogy I heard of this, the best emergent property analogy I've heard is ants. Is that a single ant, is just, you really can't determine anything from it. It has one that's not receiving any pheromone signals from any of the other ants, and it's just on its own, lost. It just wanders around, looking for what to do. It has no input, and is trying to figure out the things on its own, which it can't do because it needs input from the hive. Ants together, you can actually track. I think it was you can actually determine intelligent action from the hive in and of itself, from the hive itself working together. But an ant on its own does not. So all the ants together have the emergent property of a cooperative action, which is a hallmark of intelligence. Now, their intelligence is different from human intelligence, but the ability to cooperate onto a single action, everybody has their own function and do their jobs all at the exact same time, that cooperative action is very rudimentary in ants, but they can do it. And they can signal each other when to do what. So, yes, emergent properties are all over nature. They exist everywhere. And our consciousness just happens to be one of them.
How so? This pencil doesn't have any consciousness. How could consciousness come out of it?
Well, because consciousness is not, the singularity. Consciousness is not the universe. These two are not analogous. This is the watchmaker fallacy.
What about intelligence? Intelligence coming out of non-intelligence? Where do you see that happening?
If abiogenesis is true, then there was a time when there wasn't life here. I mean, abiogenesis, we know it. We know it works and we understand it. We just don't know which version of abiogenesis took place. But how can intelligence come out of non-intelligence? Well, all human beings are composed of basic elements. We can break a human body down into those basic elements after death. It's called decomposition and decay. So those basic elements, come together to form DNA. DNA is self-replicating molecule, and then, with genetic information, and then you get human beings. Well, that basic information is built out of that. So all it takes is the emergent property of the brain, and then it just comes out differently depending upon which species, or depending upon the level of evolution, or the positive selection pressures on that brain. So, and he looks so pleased with himself.
This is insane. Or being aware. Awareness coming out of non-awareness.
It's the same answer.
This pencil's not aware of anything.
And see, the analogy is so dumb. It's so bottom of the barrel stupid that I honestly thought he was trolling. I thought that he was trolling in this, because there's no way that anyone would fall for this. There are Christians there are other Christians I have spoken with who would take his arguments and just like literally throw them out the window, just thinking this guy's a Christian troll. He's just being a pain in the ass. That's all he's doing, is like, look at me, I'm so smart. But yes, Richard Taylor, I believe it's micaceous clay is a possibility. We came from a rock. Yes, to say Hovind, to quote Hovind there. But yeah, it's so dumb. He's got to be trolling.
Or order. You believe order came out of disorder?
Well, that's different, because if you understand physics and you understand cosmology and you understand the laws of thermodynamics, technically we are moving towards disorder with the increase in entropy. So order is going to disorder, and there was no disorder before that. There was merely the singularity. I mean, depending upon which hypothesis you subscribe to, but it's typically going towards disorder. So there was order at the beginning and disorder at the end. So it's profoundly ignorant.
The Big Bang, the explosion. Some atheists say
I jumped on this. He actually corrected himself.
It was an expansion. It's not an explosion.
It's an expansion event, yes.
But the expansion was faster than the speed of light. That sounds like an explosion to me.
No, he's deeply ignorant, and he doesn't understand why it was effectively faster than the speed of light. Why it effectively did not break the light barrier. At the initial, like literally what they call, I believe that, remember what this is called, is the inflation epic. Or the epic of inflation. And why it was able to do that, because there was nothing outside of it. It's literally wham, it's literally going forward into nothing, filling the space. So there's a reason why it was able to do that. And like I said, profoundly ignorant of these.
I don't know, guys.
Hey, Mystique Tina Jones, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. A member of the Godless Army, I do appreciate it. AJ Heeb as well, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Another member of the Godless Army, I do appreciate it. Was the pencil pulled from his buttocks? Maybe. Dervis, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate it. Oh, bummer. So one of the people that I invited to be on here, unfortunately said that he is busy tonight. So, which is a bummer because I had some questions I want to ask him. I wanted to talk to him. I'll give you a hint. He was not an atheist. And he's been a big topic over at Team's channel.
Come on now.
This is argument.
An explosion created everything.
Technically, well, the expansion event, everything created, and it wasn't that's dishonest. The explosion itself didn't create everything, but this is where he's going to get really, really dumb, like really bad.
Really? And this explosion, they say, came from a dot that was as big as an atom.
Doesn't understand the singularity.
The whole universe fit in an atom?
This is bad.
You really believe that, guys? Try to take a cup of water, condense it into a smaller cup. That's impossible. How are you going to do that? Imagine all the oceans were condensed in a dot.
See, okay, this is so bad. I mean, if he legitimately thinks that the universe, the visible universe, the observable universe as it is right now, was all in the singularity, that there wasn't like 380,000 years for the cooling event to take place and for hydrogen and helium atoms to begin to form, and then another 100 million years after that for the first, for the population 3 stars to begin to form, so on and so forth. It's like he literally thinks that everything you see now was tucked away in the singularity, and then it exploded, and then everything was here. So, and I haven't been able to find evidence that he thinks that everything is 6,000 years old. I don't know if he's a young Earth creationist. So, I'd assume that he adheres, or maybe he understands that the age of the universe, the age of the Earth, and the evidence for that. But if he actually believes that like everything as we currently observe it was tucked away in the singularity, and then it exploded, and then everything was set right here, yeah. And Mark Short says he's obviously never heard of a black hole. That's very true. Spatchcock says, the way this guy talks, I'm picking up a John Lee from Clubhouse vibe. If no one is familiar with him, consider yourselves blessed. Yes, thanks to Tom Rabbit, I've gotten familiar with him. Ugh. Honestly, and this is not a formal diagnosis, but given the stuff, because after Tom introduced, kind of like started doing John Lee coverage, I went back and started looking at his stuff, and some of the things that he says when he's recounting his experiences, I'm beginning to think that John Lee suffers from partial epilepsy, and that's the cause of his, and most likely, temporal lobe seizures, which is why he has these hallucinations, or he sees these illusions that are being generated by his brain, and because it's partial, he's able to draw inferences from what he's seeing on the spot. Which is why he's able to draw conclusions instead of completely losing control. So I think he may be having partial seizures. So I'm thinking that's what it sounds like to me. I have to, obviously, if this requires formal diagnosis with a doctor, and it requires a lot of EEG, but I'm thinking that that's what it is. That sounds very similar to me.
As big as an atom. That's insanity.
That's incredulity. That's your incredulity, because you don't understand it. You also don't understand what the singularity is. You don't understand how it's a mathematical projection. So,
all the billions of galaxies were in a small dot? That's fantasy.
See, this is why I think he's a troll. Lori Marie, good to see you, Lori Marie. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. This is why I think this guy's a troll. I honestly do. I think that he's trolling. This is so dumb. Like dumb. Like really, like I didn't didn't make it past 9th grade dumb. Basic physics course, basic biology course.
That's make-believe. Fairy tales. They teach this in schools. They're brainwashing children with the satanic garbage.
That's some Hoven shit. That's some straight up Hoven shit. That's like like child abuse. Claiming that that education is in public schools is child abuse just because the states don't support unfounded religious claims about reality. So we teach evidence in state schools, and it's because we have many faiths that get together. So we're not going to teach one faith over the other one. So it's best to have religion out of school and teach things that we know can be backed up. So Richard Taylor says it may be focal partial seizure activity where he remains conscious. Right. Right, you said my partner has these, but no hallucinations, just the room spin. Some people do have hallucinations. Exactly, yes. That's what I thought. Given what he was describing, how he was hearing things that were around him that nobody else heard, and then seeing things, but he would see like auras around people, which would be his eyes, his optic nerve, reacting to the seizure as it's taking in light, which can create that halo effect around things. Which is why I was like, I'm leaning towards that. It's not a formal diagnosis, but the evidence kind of says, I'm thinking that this is what it is, and he's misinterpreting the effects. It's very John Travolta phenomena, where the images he was seeing was actually the tumor causing cascading seizures in his brain as it was activating more areas of his brain. That's science fiction. That's goofy, but I think that's what he has. This is my opinion.
It's stupid. Come on, guys, think. That's insane.
We did think. We've thought about it a lot. There are professionals out there who this is literally their lives, like every single day. Clive Wells, this amazing dude that's in here, he's one of them, who's taught me a lot and probably still has buckets he could teach me. And that's why I always go to my resources, I could try to cultivate really excellent resources and try to get information from them, have them explain things to me so that I understand it as a layperson who's not a physicist. As a psychologist, I could dive into this guy all day long, but as a physicist or an evolutionary biologist, I want to make sure I understand it, so I go to the pros. That's that pretentious
I don't
laugh.
know. Let's say something else. How about if I say, do you believe this pencil had a maker, designer, builder, creator,
Jefferson Spatchcock says, spoilers, Phenomenon is on my list to watch. Dude, that movie, oh, come on. John Travolta, Robert Duvall, Forrest Whitaker. That movie came out in 1996. There's a moratorium on spoilers, and it's like 5 years. That came out in 1996. It is almost 3 decades old, okay? And besides, I didn't spoil how it ends. I didn't give it away. But, come on, man. Come on, son. Come on, son. Hey, Jack Burton's in there. It's good to see you, Jack Burton. Thank you so much for being here. Wrote it in his name. Good to see you. Says auras are symptomatic of seizures. Absolutely. That was the big clue, was him seeing auras. I was like, gotcha. And it was a good story. Oh yeah, and Kira Sedgwick as well. So Phenomenon had a great soundtrack. Peter Gabriel, yep, lots of good artists. Absolutely, AJ. So yeah, so he's going on the pencil. Obviously, this is the watchmaker fallacy. I always go to Hume on this. I think Hume did it best after Paley. Was it Paley? I think it was Paley. But I think Hume broke this one down the absolute best as to why this fails.
I mean, you're going to say, yes, it does, And this maker had to be intelligent, had to be conscious to make it, had to be aware of what he or she were doing. I mean, we see the intelligence behind it. The wood, the way it's shaped, cut. We have the lead.
That's not lead inside of a pencil. That is graphite powder mixed with a clay binder. So it's not lead.
The lead in the middle. We have this metal piece holding the eraser.
It's called a ferrule. It's literally aluminum, but it's based off of the old word. It's like a bastardization between a French word and the word for iron, like the Latin word for iron, which is fair or something like this, but. Ferrous, like Ferr, but it's ferrule, and that is it's literally a, what is it called? It's a fastener. It's just a metal fastener that holds the eraser to the wood. So come on, dude.
Now, of course, as an atheist or agnostic, you're going to say, yes, of course, this pencil does have a maker, designer, builder, and creator.
Well, we'd say that because we know it.
Because it would be insane. How could this create itself? But then some atheist will tell me, oh, we have...
Thank you, Tony Regime. William Paley. I thought it was Paley, yeah.
We believe this pencil does, but the whole universe.
Lori Marie says not familiar with this dude. He is, but he isn't the sharpest pencil. Look at that pencil. That's representative. That pencil is analogous to him. He ain't even sharpened. He ain't even sharpened. That pencil is not analogous to the universe. That pencil is analogous to his mind. Yes, the pencil guy. Yes, Surf. Good to see you, Surf. Member of the Goblet's Army. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a long time since they used lead. Historical philosopher.
Doesn't. That's insane.
So this is the watchmaker fallacy, and like I said, Paley brought it up, but it was Hume who really broke it down, and I've always liked Hume because Hume broke it down into three parts. Is that, and I think he put this forward in the 16th century. Humans have no experience of world making. We have nothing to compare the formation of our universe against, and we likely never will. So it's illogical to infer that our universe has been created by an intelligent designer the same way his pencil was. That's completely illogical. Secondly, it's a bad analogy. His argument is claiming that the pencil is akin to the universe, which it obviously is not. The two things are not analogous. And the last part of it is that even if the argument did give evidence for a designer, which it doesn't, but even if it did, it doesn't give evidence enough to claim that the Christian God is the designer. So, I think he also pointed out that given the infinite timescales of the universe the way he understood them, that there would be plenty of opportunity for the universe, the somewhat ordered universe that we observe, to come from an initial random event that is chaotic. That where the chips fall where they may, we could find order in those chips given the timescales that we're dealing with. So, in an infinite timescale, anything can happen, is pretty much where Hume was going with that. There's no logical contradiction in that, and yet there is in his analogy is logically contradictory. So, and he's going to get another part where he talks about complexity and how complexity, he's like, looks so complex. No, complexity is not a hallmark of design. Simplicity and efficiency are. Those are hallmarks of design, because the more complex a system gets, the more pieces there are to fail, and the more efficiency can be lost. So you want your systems very simple, very efficient, so that you don't lose any energy, you don't get bleed off. That's the whole point. The more pieces, the inefficiency of the human body, as we're supposedly made by this perfect creator, the inefficiency of the human body is ridiculous on a biological level. So yeah, the wasted energy that is in here, the fact that we don't use everything that we intake, that is just ridiculous. So no, complexity is not a hallmark of design. Simplicity and efficiency are, of which this universe and all the systems in it are not.
That's craziness. What's more complex, this pencil or the entire universe? All the galaxies, the solar system, all the millions of different animals and plant life and humans that have consciousness. And
Richard Taylor says, and if the pencil breaks, do you now have two pencils? Has the pencil done mitosis? I would say, yeah, there's no lead in that pencil, but there's obviously in the paint in his house. I would agree with that. Wrote in no less name. Yeah.
Awareness and intelligence, and there's so much order, the fine-tuning of the universe.
I think he's just throwing that out there, and he doesn't understand what he's really saying. If the universe is fine-tuned for anything, it's fine-tuned for black holes. Just a quote. Aaron Reese is in the house. Good to see you, Aaron Reese, member of the Godless Army. He says, what kind of asshole designs a heart that makes the arteries that feed it fatally small? All kinds of problems. Yep.
That's how much you don't want to believe in God. You guys are emotional. You're not intelligent.
This is where where I first got the inkling that this guy was trolling people. That this all is bullshit. Was because everything he said so far is an emotional appeal. And he automatically assumes that atheists don't want to believe in God, is his first assumption. Whereas the atheists would say, well, I haven't been presented with evidence or argument sufficient enough in order to warrant belief. I can't just make myself believe in something that there is no evidence for. I can't just go up to the roof and because I believe I can fly. No, I can't make myself believe that I can fly any more than I can make myself believe that a triangle could have four sides. So I can't make myself believe in a God because it's a logical contradiction. It's logically contradictory, so I can't make myself believe it. And For him to say that we just don't want to do it and we're willing to make all these leaps, when actually this is just a projection of his own position. It's an appeal to emotion for him, and he's just projecting it onto the atheist position.
You know, you mistake your pretentiousness with intelligence and wisdom. No, the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. You don't have wisdom. The Bible says, proclaiming themselves to be wise, they became fools.
And, yeah, circular, begging the question.
It's foolishness. What about evolution? You really think you were a monkey?
No, we're not monkeys. We're technically, if I remember correctly, taxonomically, we are classified into a subgroup of primates called the great apes. And of the genera we're a part of, there are 4 genera. There is Pan, Gorilla, Homo, and I can't remember. Oh, Lord, I can't remember the 4th one. Pan, Gorilla, something. I can't remember. I'm not Gutsick Gibbon, unfortunately. I know Homo is the one that we're a part of. Well, we're the last remaining members of. So of the Homo genera, we are the last remaining members of that. And then, of course, there's the gorilla family, and then, of course, the Pan family, which chimpanzees are a part of, and then gorillas are gorillas. And I know that bonobos, I think, are the 3rd one. I can't remember. So put in the live chat. Remind me what the 4th genera is of the great apes. I can't recall which one. I'm always drop the 4th one. Pan, gorilla, Homo, and something. Can't like that. I can't recall. Unfortunately, but yeah, we're not monkeys. We're apes. Technically, great apes. So, grape ape.
No wonder why atheists act like monkeys, because they believe their grandparents were monkeys.
So that's just ad hom, and no, and we don't believe our grandparents were monkeys. He's an idiot. Or he's a troll.
You guys believe that? I don't know. I mean, these are questions that...
Thank you, Clive Wells. Pongo. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, Abraham Lincoln. Charlie Wells, that's great. Yes, Pan, Gorilla, Pongo, and Homo, of which humans are the last of the Homo genera. So thank you. Thank you very much. Rodent, last name, Richard Taylor. Appreciate that. Pongo orangutans. Thank you. Orangutans. Appreciate that. He could be, yes, Sir Little Wolf, he could be an idiot troll. He absolutely could. He could be an idiot troll.
That I had to consider.
You didn't consider these.
When I was an atheist and then agnostic, more so as an agnostic. But, you know, the Holy Spirit was guiding me to the truth.
Begging the question.
Yeah.
Thank you for agreeing.
And you guys use God in the gaps.
We use God in the gaps. That's hilarious because we don't believe in a God to put in any gaps in our knowledge. So that's weird.
Wait a minute. We have creation. What do you have?
No, you can't. Just because you call it creation doesn't mean there's a creator. You need to, in order to, you define it as existence. And then you just call it creation. So existence had to come from somewhere. So it had to have been created. And then, so if it's created, there must be a creator. No, there is existence. There's everything that exists. And that is the universe. Where did the universe come from? Doesn't necessarily mean that there's a creator to everything. Just because you call it creation because because that's the way, early ignorant peoples once thought it was. He was like, oh, all this had to be made from something or made by someone or something. Nah.
What do you have? Again.
I said orangutan. I said it right the second time. The first time I said it bad. Hey, PhD Tony's in the house. Good to see you, PhD Tony. Says, almost finished watching Ascent of Man. Very cool. But thank you for being here, bud.
And rewind and listen to what I said about creation. How does that come out of nothing? With all the order? I mean, we have the perfect ecosystem.
That's also another thing. No, we don't have a perfect ecosystem. We have equilibrium, but humans destabilize that all the time. But nonetheless, yeah, Jack Bird says, always wonder why they use that you think we're monkeys as a gotcha. Somehow Dirt Boy and Rib Girl tricked by talking snake to eat magic fruit is less ridiculous. Dirt Boy and Rib Girl. That's fantastic. And yes, it is far from perfect. Humans, fuck up pretty much everything. So, yes, thank you, PhD Tony. We didn't come out of nothing. At no point in time was there nothing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, The big thing on this one, what was it? What was it that he friggin' said?
Again, rewind and listen to what I said about creation. How does this come out of nothing, with all the order?
Okay, that was it. It was the order. So going to this, he never gets into this because this is a much headier topic than I think he can actually withstand. I think if he actually tried to engage on a topic like this, his head would fucking collapse. And that is, we have the appearance of order. We have the appearance of like identity over time. So like localized identity over time, localized order. The time scales of the universe, of the cosmos, are so incredibly long that human beings can't perceive them with our senses. So we don't perceive these things going on. But the universe is steamrolling ahead to a point when, like, literally the complete thermal equilibrium and the dissolution of all matter. So we have localized identity. Things seem to be holding steady now, but that's only because of where we're at and how we view things. And the timescales different. Timescales have changed of the universe and the timescales of our lifespans. So we have local uniformity is what we observe. And just to assume that it will always be uniform is just flies in the face, because it won't be, and we know it won't be. You're right, Aaron Reese. The universe does not give a shit. The universe is under no obligation to explain itself to anybody.
I mean, we have the perfect ecosystem. How did that happen?
We don't.
Dreaming. It's incredible. Love. All the emotions.
Technically an emotional appeal.
You know? We have history and archaeology and millions of miracle stories.
This is also problematic because millions of miracle stories. If miracles are happening all the time, then they're not miracles. By definition, a miracle should be a rare event, something that does not happen or requires a supernatural source to occur, like a breaking of the laws of reality. John Robertson says, order is created by the attractive force of nature. You are correct, John Robertson. Thank you for hanging out, bud. But yeah, it's, because then he goes on to, he's talking about like miracles all over the place, miracles enough to convince people that God exists. Well, then they're not miracles. They're evidence.
Millions of near-death experience stories.
Completely ignores the fact that near-death experiences are typically culturally biased, that individuals who believe in Christianity will see God, or they'll see Jesus, or they'll see angels, or the Virgin Mary, depending upon which branch of Christianity they adhere to. Muslims will see Allah. Hindus, and everybody sees what's culturally relevant to them. There is cultural bias in near-death experiences. This has been demonstrated in a lab, not to mention, it's also been demonstrated that near-death experiences are pretty much our imagination. That when the human brain is dying and the organic computer up in our skulls is beginning to fail due to a lack of oxygen, that the brain begins to fail in making memories. It begins to short circuit, and it will fit. And once you are revived, your brain will try to fill in the gaps with whatever it can, in order to make sense of what occurred, of the near death moment. So it'll try to fill in your memory with stuff it already knows. The brain is notorious for this, because the brain, as my friend Cody likes to put it, the brain is a piece of shit. The brain is a bastard, and it will mess with you. This is why optical illusions are things. Is why you can look at the four corners and see the full square. It's because the brain doesn't like missing information. It will fill in the gaps with what it thinks should be there. And if you believe in supernatural shit, if you believe that angels or God or Jesus or Mary or Allah or Vishnu or whatever is waiting for you on the other side, your brain will stick that in your memories. Or your loved ones or something of that nature. Your brain will put that in there to fill in it, because that's what you're expecting to see.
Not living create life.
Oh, I think it
had to be all the galaxies. I mean, these are questions that historians became Christians when they couldn't refute it. You know how many doctors saw miracles and they became Christians because they just kept on seeing miracles.
If they're seeing all these miracles, then they would be friggin' evidence. They would not be miracles, because miracles, by definition, don't happen all the time. So he's got to be. I mean, it's got to be dumb, dumb. Like, really dumb. Donnie does that. Says, the brain is an amazing assumption engine. Yes, it is. An amazing assumption engine. Literally the way our eyes are wired. When you are panning your vision from one side to the other, there are moments in there when you're panning that you go blind. And the reason you don't see gaps in your vision is because your brain is filling in the blanks with the data around it. It's assuming that this picture is continuing. So if I do this, there's moments in there that are being filled in by my brain, where my eyes don't function, because of the way our optic nerves are attached to our eyes, and the way to our eyeballs, and the way they're attached to our brain. So yeah, there's an issue there because our eyes are messed up. Yes, Sir Little Wolf, that's a big question. Can our eyes pan 9 miles though? Fucking J of Truth. Just Call Me Obvious says, it's still a nice thing to have, even though it is just our brain making up things. Perhaps it's evolution to ease us through death. No, but just think about that. You could call it a social evolution, that these stories became something to kind of like ease people, through death. I don't think there's something that naturally evolved. I think that you can culturally, you can kind of like artificially select for certain ideologies by keeping them relevant in your culture. Which is essentially what Islam did, is that it kept the fundamentalist nature of Islam, of the Muslim faith, relevant by killing any challengers to it, which is what Muhammad did. Is that anybody who challenged him or questioned him on the veracity of his stories, of his plagiarism, he killed, or he had killed, because he married into an extremely wealthy family. So he just got rid of the competition, and eventually then the only people that were around that were alive and talking about this were the some people that were repeating his bullshit. So that didn't happen. That really didn't happen to the extent with Christianity, which is why we have Christianity in the state that it is now.
And people having the same stories. Look it up, guys.
They're not the same stories.
Look it up.
I have.
Same stories with
I've debunked it in the
seeing
past.
heaven or hell. They're not making this up. For a.
Technically, they're not. Oh, damn it. Technically, they're not. Their brains are.
Seeing heaven or hell. They're not making this up. I spoke about some of this with my own testimony. I have a testimony video. Check it out.
And your testimony, and I looked at that, and it's nothing but arguments from incredulity, arguments from ignorance, and appeals to emotion. And confirmation bias.
And even archaeologists, even secular archaeologists, when they find something they don't know, they go to the Bible to see what it is.
That's a flat-out lie. That is a bald-faced lie. He is straight lying there. For a Christian that he claims to be, to violate that commandment, that's thou shalt not bear false witness. That is a bald-faced lie. Secular archaeologists do not go to the Bible to verify their shit. They don't. They may use the Bible as a source, but they don't go to the Bible to verify things that they find. They essentially take all of history together. The Bible may be included in that if the Bible was relevant in that time. But if they're doing archaeology in South America, they're not going to go to the fucking Bible. Why would they? Because the Bible talks about a very small localized region in the world. A very small localized region in the world. It doesn't talk about what was going on in England at the time, or the British Isles. It doesn't talk about what was going on in Australia. It doesn't talk about... It wasn't even aware. The writers weren't even aware that there was a Western Hemisphere. So how could they write about what they do not know? That's the point. It's possible, John Robertson, he says, is he lying or simply repeating the lies he's heard and naively believes? Given his... It's the pretentious laugh in his behavior. Yes. Yes, Ugly German Truth. Good to see you, bud. Thank you for hanging out. It says, nobody goes to the Bible for South America. That's where you read the Book of Mormon.
Incredible. All the miracles. I mean, I have a personal relationship with God.
You think?
Because when I asked, I received. And a lot of my prayers come true.
How did you eliminate confirmation bias? By what methodology did you determine that it was God answering your prayers? And why are you so special? That children being stolen from their families and drugged and turned into child soldiers in Africa, why aren't their prayers being answered? What's going on there? Here's a good question. Why did a biker guy here in America have to pick up have to basically go to Africa with a bunch of the guy who's a machine gun preacher? Why did it require him to go out there to give these children a safe space so they could learn and become educated? Why did he have to do that? The angels of I think it's Angels of Africa. Why did he have to do that? Why couldn't God just answer their prayers? Why is he answering Dingus's prayers sitting in his car recording himself in flurf mode? Why? This makes no sense. Why have churches become havens for child predators? Why? Why couldn't God just remove all the child predators from all the churches? Or give them a standard by which they can weed these people out so that children are not victimized? Why? There is a report coming out there's a report coming out here pretty soon that some people may not be aware of, but it is a report of complaints against fundamentalist preachers in America, and ones who've been complained against for sexual assault or just bad nasty stuff, and it's like 200. It's like over 200 pages long. So why wouldn't the prayers of these children seeking solace away from their abusers, why wouldn't their prayers be answered? And Dingus here in his hoodie, recording in flurf mode, all his prayers are answered. This doesn't make any... It's ridiculous.
Some people, they say... I don't know, I might be getting off topic. Some people say, well, I prayed, and the prayer didn't... God didn't answer my prayer, so there is no God. No, God always answers your prayer. It's either yes or no.
Which is ridiculous, because that means, if you're praying for something that you don't have coming, you pray for stuff that you don't have coming to you. You pray for stuff that you cannot get yourself. You pray for something that you can't secure, and if that prayer comes true, and you say, well, this proves God, you cannot differentiate that from confirmation bias. If you believe first, and then you need to believe. If belief is a requirement before you can find evidence, that is confirmation bias. There is no difference between those two. So no, the prayer, and plus, it's been scientifically demonstrated many, many times. Prayer works as often as flipping a coin. You may as well just flip a coin. There are studies on this.
Nothing happened? Well, the answer was no. God is...
So the answer was no, that children should not be, that children can't get rescued from their abusers. All those children that prayed that God would relieve them from their suffering and yet continue to allow them to be abused. If your God exists, it's a moral monster. It's an absolute monster. It's just absolute trash and is unworthy of worship. There it is. Cindy Sue brings up. It's 205 pages from the Southern Baptist Convention. Yep, 205 pages of religious leaders who have been complained against for sexual improprieties. 205 pages. Ridiculous.
Omnipresent. He hears all your prayers. So if nothing happened, it's probably a no. So your prayer was answered. Or maybe it didn't happen right away. It is going to happen.
But that's a problem. If it's people in dire straits or people who are being victimized and all it takes is God's intervention to do this, then it shouldn't take anything. God is, if he's omniscient and he hears everything and he knows everything, technically if he's omniscient, then he knew it before it was going to happen. He knew it infallibly and chose not to stop it, which is the problem of evil. That's as old as the Greeks is the problem of evil, the Epicurean trilemma. So, and Christians do not have an argument against the problem of evil, which I actually covered that in a previous video. Is that, yeah? Thank you, Richard Taylor, for the Carlin reference there. Pray to Joe Pesci. I pray to Joe Pesci. But yeah, the problem of evil cannot be solved. It cannot be answered by Christians unless they alter the nature of their God to fit it around the logical entailments. But if they hold on to those attributes, then their God dies on the swords of logical entailment.
And later, give it some time. God knows the right time to answer your prayer. It doesn't have to be repeatedly.
Especially from those being victimized that need to get out of the situation and are so terrified that they can't.
God is not our personal butler. He's not a genie.
But he did supposedly in your worldview create everything, which makes him responsible for everything if he has the attributes of omniscience and omnipotence. Because then he had infallible foreknowledge of everything that was going to take place. So everything is of his design, including your whole Adam and Eve myth, which would be all by his design. Adam and Eve were made to be manipulatable by the serpent that he put in the garden and allowed for these things to happen. If he is omnipotent and omniscient, then it all falls within his purview, which means he's responsible for all of it, including all the evil stuff. So.
And the only way to rub him the right way is to repent.
Repent for what? What do I need to repent for? I was born. I had no choice in this. And I'm not going to be one of these people that's going to tell people that they were born broken. That is so psychologically twisted. It is beyond fucked. That is psychological manipulation and harm, the likes of which I think a budding psychopath would be jealous of, to do that level of harm. To tell someone that they're born broken and they have to appeal to an external source for which there is no good evidence for in order to be unbroken. And that they have to make themselves observe. They had no choice in being born. So there it is. And if God is making them, then God is just making people to be slaves. The logical entailments of this are insane. I see that Otangelo has joined us in the chat. Feel free to jump out with the Otangelo emojis, because I know he's got nothing pertinent to say. Because I've proposed these things to Otangelo, and he's got nothing. He can't refute any of this. So.
Stop sinning. Pray.
Sin only exists, begging the question. Sin only exists if God exists. Otherwise, it's just immoral action.
Read the Bible. Put love in your heart. Faith.
Faith is bad. Faith is very, very bad. Faith is emotionally. Faith is an emotional appeal. Faith can change, can flip on a dime. You can put your faith in the wrong things. Your faith can be manipulated by people external to you without your knowledge. Why anybody would ever fall on faith, I have no idea. Because faith will not get you to the truth. At all.
Plus, the Bible says Satan is the ruler of this world. And
begging the question.
If you see, and with spiritual eyes, you can see that's true. Because if you're an atheist or agnostic, pay attention to the attacks on Christianity always.
Oh, persecution complex. Here it comes.
Always in movies, shows, even video games, cartoons, books. Notice how they're always attacking Christianity, making fun of Jesus.
I can't remember the last thing I ever heard that made fun of Jesus. The last big thing that came out about Christ was obviously The Passion of the Christ. That was the last big blockbuster film. Pureflix is constantly making stuff out, churning out shit movies, and I'm telling you, they are shit. That glorify Christianity and all of these, all of this bullshit about it. There's been a 4-movie series called God's Not Dead, trying to go, basically painting atheists in a very dishonest light. So, no, here in the United States, Christians are not as persecuted as you think. Christians are typically persecuted in countries where predominantly it's Muslim, where it's predominantly Islam. Islam does not, especially fundamentalist Islam, does not brook with Christianity. And so they'll persecute them there. But guess who gets persecuted here, bud? Because this is ostensibly, because 80 some odd % of Americans believe in God, believe in, the Christian God. Where do you think Muslims get persecuted? They get persecuted here. If you were, it's, the argument, the door swings both ways. His ignorance is palpable.
Why? Think about that. Oh, boy.
Dropped his phone.
Oh, yeah. Hello, sorry. Something happened. So what was I saying?
It's stupidness. Absolute stupidity. No, Otangelo, strong atheism, not most likely there is no God. Strong atheism is that the Christian God does not exist. And I can tell you, this is why it depends. So the same arguments that you would say that Thor does not exist, or Odin does not exist, or Vishnu, or any of the other tens of thousands of gods that have been dreamed up by humans, The same argument applies to the Christian God. You attempt to define it into existence. The definition that you adhere to God, this is really, really important. The definition that people like Otangelo, the definition that people like Otangelo, Darth Dawkins, J. Robin, the definition of God that they adhere to is not a classic definition. This is a contemporary definition. This is something new that has been thought up, because the classic definition of God, as understood from the Bible, has been pushed it literally has been pushed off the board. The logical entailments have killed the classic definition of God. So God has had to be redefined in order to meet what we know about reality. So now it's this, because in the Bible it says nowhere about God being this metaphysical and this metaphysically ontological, primary, intangible, immaterial mind that exists outside of space and time. None of that is in the Bible. That is new shit that was thought up to deal with the fact that reality does not reflect the existence of this being. Oh, thank you so much, Jefferson Spatchcock, for $4.99 super chat. Thank you. It says, here's a donation to inspire you to write a spec script for PureFlix. That's so tempting. It really is. Wouldn't that just be that'd just be hilarious if they find out it's like, man, this award-winning PureFlix film was written by an atheist? That would just be hysterical. It'd be the ultimate troll. It really, really would. Absolutely. So that's the problem, Otangelo, is that your version of God is not what the Bible reflects. If you went by the classical biblical definition of this thing, the logical entailments destroy it. It is defined logically contradictory, with logically contradictory attributes. Now, if you want to change that, it no longer becomes the biblical God. Now, you have added things to it to become something else that is able to weave around the evidence of reality. Because we understand more. It's like, we used to think gods are responsible for lightning. We now understand where lightning comes from and what causes it, and we know it's actually quite common occurrence. It's not supernatural. So the God was moved away. We don't need it to explain lightning anymore. We don't need God to explain the universe anymore. Lay terms. Fluctuations in the cosmic field. Done. Metaphysically ontological. There you go. That's it.
Yeah, and using God's name in vain, it's everywhere. It's everywhere in movies, shows. I see it in video games.
God damn it.
Where they say, Jesus Christ. Why would they use that as a cuss word?
They don't. They use it as an expressive. So they're basically saying Jesus Christ, like they're expressing their frustration with something. So that's pretty much all it is. If saying a word is like literally, so quantum field has always been there, Tangelo. You don't understand quantum mechanics. It's always been there. Always there, always will be there. That's it. No, without the quantum field, there would be no universe. So, and it's already been explained to you, Otangelo. You're ignoring it. It's already been explained to you how there is no outside of time and space, or outside of space-time. It's already been explained to you. You've just flatly ignored it, and you never addressed it. You've never like countered it. There is no outside of time and space. That's not the way that works, Otangelo. You don't understand what you're talking about. You flat out don't. You don't. Like at all. The second law of thermodynamics pertains to this universe, not to the quantum field. You don't understand the relationship between quantum mechanics and our observable universe. You don't.
Out of so many characters, to you, a fictional character. Jesus is a fictional character?
Yeah.
Why you constantly uses his name as a cuss word?
Because it's effective. It's like saying fuck. Or saying shit or motherfucker. People say Jesus Christ like Sam Jackson says motherfucker. That's all it is.
Think about the dates we use. BC and AC.
Technically now it's BCE and CE. It's before Common Era and Common Era. Sorry.
That all pertains to our Lord Jesus Christ.
And now Otangelo's lying his ass off because Jack just asked him, aren't you a young Earth creationist? And I already refuted young Earth, and Otangelo agreed with me. That was a private conversation between me and Otangelo, where I explained to Otangelo how we know the age of the Earth. Like, how we know it, irrefutably. And he agreed with me. I showed him the work and everything. How we come to this conclusion. I made a claim, and then I backed it up with the evidence that is irrefutable as to the age of the Earth. Independently verified age of the Earth. And he agreed. He's like, yep, you're correct. And now he's sitting saying he's a young Earth creationist. Otangelo's a liar. Flat out. I'm calling him out right now.
Even the date, the time, had to be changed when he was born.
No,
Think about
what?
that. Oh, let me go back.
No, it wasn't. It's at 0, you dumbass. It's at 0. Before Common Era and after Common Era. See, Common Era and after before Common Era. He's such a moron.
To more questions for atheists. Something I heard.
Uh-oh.
Now, do you believe that a building had a builder? And if you're an atheist agnostic, of course you're going to say, yeah, we do believe the building had a builder.
He's just repeating. This is just a repetition of the watchmaker fallacy. And Otangelo, it's not my opinion. It's reality. I'm sorry to tell you this. I'm sorry to break this to you, dude. And I explained this to you with evidence. Irrefutable evidence. Get this through your head. Crying Otangelo. You and I chatted privately. I explained to you how we know the age of the Earth, the evidence that indicates the age of the Earth, and how we independently verified the age of the Earth. Okay? I explained this to you. You had no counter. You looked at the evidence, and you could not refute it. And now, you're sitting here lying your ass off. In violation of your commandment. And you know damn well it's the watchmaker fallacy, Otangelo. Hume, you've read, well, you said you read Hume. You said you read it. I don't think you did. Because if you'd read Hume, you'd understand why it's a fallacy. The two are not, a building is not analogous to the universe. The two things are not analogous. We have no concept of world building that we can compare to the formation of our universe. And we likely never will have anything to compare it to. And even if it was an argument for a designer, it's not an argument for the Christian God as a designer.
You know, because how could it build itself? Where did it come from?
See, yeah, it's just watchmaker fallacy again. Is PhD Tony taken off? I got the sense that he was. I think. Today's not so great. Oh, I hope you're feeling better, Tony. I really do.
You know? That's right. A builder does have a builder. Or a painting. How do you know a painting had a painter? You'll also, you know, if you have some intelligence, you'll say, yeah, of course, a painting has to have a painter.
These are not analogous.
How was it painted? Again, creation.
You call it creation, but you have no evidence of a creator. You're just throwing it down there that because it had to come from somewhere. It is literally an argument from incredulity. You can't see it coming, but you can't understand or can't comprehend it coming from any other place. So it must have been created. So therefore, there must be a creator. But there is no grounds for calling reality creation. Okay? It is literally existence. Because existence doesn't have an exister. So,
how do you know all this creation in the universe had a creator? Because how could it create itself? The pencil doesn't create itself.
Then tell that to virtual particles, dumbass. Tell that to virtual particles that pop out of nothing.
The galaxies don't create themselves.
You're right. The fundamental forces of nature create galaxies over time.
Different species of animals, humans, plant life, a perfect ecosystem, the fine-tuning of the universe.
Technically, it's fine-tuned for black holes, but...
They don't create themselves. You guys...
You're right, these are the results of natural forces.
Believe in magic.
No, you believe in magic. Literally, Adam and Eve. There's magic. You believe in magic.
Come on, guys.
You just refuse to call it magic because you don't like the connotation. So he calls it miracles, but it's literally just dumb. It's dumb magic. It's God magicked it. God did it. Nim, 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 nim.
I love you. Atheism is from Satan.
That is that is really one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. That atheism comes from Satan.
You guys are gonna go to hell.
And there's the idle threat.
I don't want you to.
What stake do you have in it? It's no skin off your teeth.
Yeah. You know, we have a soul.
Evidence for that claim, please. Because there is no evidence of a soul. There is nothing to indicate that there is a soul. At all. PG Tony brings up, yes, the Bible asserts unambiguously that magic is real and effective. It does. It does. Christians believe in magic.
How do you think we're animated? Where our consciousness comes from, our awareness, intelligence?
Already explained all this. He's just repeating himself at this point.
It's the soul.
But see, that's funny, Otangelo, because I don't believe in Satan either. In fact, Satan is as ridiculous as God. The concept that an all-loving entity, an omnibenevolent entity, would create an adversary to dupe people and in turn provide zero evidence of itself beyond bad rationality is ridiculous. How are you like taken in by this? This is beyond dumb. You have an entity you claim is omnibenevolent, who then creates everything and then provides like literally no good evidence for its existence. And the only way to believe that it exists is to reason badly, is to make mistakes, and is to literally fall prey to mistakes in human reasoning. And then turns around and makes an adversary who fully believes who knows that God exists, to turn around and make us not believe. To say, no, you don't want to fall prey to your confirmation bias. If anything, Satan is the honest one here. Because Satan is saying, in your eyes, the argument that was just made, was that Satan is telling people, don't fall prey to your confirmation bias, don't believe in things there are no evidence for, use your critical faculties, use the powers of your brain, get educated, and you will come to this conclusion. Because God set it up that way. Your God is trash. Why do you believe in it? It's beyond ridiculous. It is an emotional appeal. I understand, Otangelo, that you need to believe in a God so badly because it fulfills this void in your life that you have the fundamental inability to derive some sort of value for yourself. So you need an external source to give it to you. I get that, but you need to be able to accept that.
You think this matter? Just this flesh we have, look at this flesh. This flesh is creating intelligence, consciousness, awareness.
No, it's all an emergent property of our brains, and it will go away when we die.
You know, all the emotions like love.
All easily explained by the limbic system.
Anger, curiosity,
Limbic
creativity.
Limbic
How about
system.
when we dream? Think about dreaming. When we're unconscious, we're dreaming.
Yeah, processing old data. Think of it as analogous to a computer or doing a RAM dump. It's essentially all of the useless and all that extraneous information that your brain has taken in and is basically processing through. That's essentially what it amounts to. And then because your brain is constantly firing throughout the process of REM sleep, you pick up visualizations in your dreams, in your mind's eye. But an interesting thing, individuals with aphasia do not see in their dreams. They can remember things like conversations, and they can remember essentially what has been described as like word bubbles, but they don't have visualization because they don't have a mind's eye. So individuals with aphasia don't actually dream the way we dream. They dream atypically. So how do you explain that?
That's our soul. We have a soul, guys.
No, we don't. There's no evidence for this. You're an idiot.
And when our body expires, we're either going to go to heaven or hell. There is no,
No.
I'm just going to be non-existent for eternity.
You were not existent before you were born. You're just returning to that state. You never... Christians never go... Oh, I see I got a super chat popped in. From UKPI, £2. From UKPI, thank you so much for the super chat. It says, who is this Otangelo guy? Idiot or just needy? Super needy. Super needy and super clingy is what he is. Super needy, super clingy. H. Jasperie is in the house. Good to see you, member of the Godless Army. Thank you so much for being here. It says, hey, morning jail, morning chat. Good to see you, H. Jasper. I do appreciate you being here. Super needy. He's both. He's an idiot. He's a needy idiot, is what he is. A super needy idiot who's been refuted. A neediot, Jack Burton? I like that. A neediot? He's a neediot? Yeah. So, that's pretty much it. But, yeah.
And that makes me happy.
See, it's an emotional appeal. The idea of it makes you happy. Because you fundamentally cannot derive value from anything around you or even yourself without God to give it to you, which is just a terrible state. Because I think it was Cindy Johnson brought it up. See if I can find it real quick. Cindy Johnson brought up a really, really good point. At times, I hate the limitations of language, the laws of logic, not laws like that. Exactly. Oh, who was it who brought it up? I know, I totally missed it. Yeah, Cindy Johnson. What scares me from listening to people like this guy, if he comes to understand that God doesn't exist, he will be lost and a danger to others. Exactly. It's exactly what I said about the previous guy. That the only thing holding them back from committing atrocities is their belief in a God. Because if there was no God, nothing would have any value. Their own lives would have no value. They would just feel, the urge. They would just go and do whatever they want, and that's scary. That's a scary proposition there.
Atheists, they seem so happy that yes, we're so happy that we believe there is no afterlife, that we're just going to become non-existent for eternity. Really?
Well, I mean, we wouldn't be aware of it, obviously. So what do we care? We weren't aware of the billions of years before we were born. We're not going to be aware of the hundreds of septillions of years after we're dead. Okay? So it's just, you're not here, then you exist for like maybe 80 years or so, and then you don't exist anymore. It's that simple. That doesn't devalue it. If anything, that makes life more valuable because it is fleeting, because it lasts such a short amount of time. That makes life more valuable because it doesn't last.
Does that really make you happy? You pretend you are. You're not happy.
I'm extraordinarily happy. I'm happy with my life. I love my wife. I have a channel with amazing viewers. Who are helping me make this thing successful. This is just a bullshit emotional appeal, because in his eyes we can't be happy because we have no way. We have no ability to. We have nothing to be happy about. But we do. We're happy about our own lives.
I was an atheist for a long time.
No, you weren't. I do not believe that he was. All the evidence to the contrary. And yes, Boomer, yes, we are still on this guy. His video was a little on the long side.
I became a born-again Christian at the age of 37. It took me a long time. I was in your shoes,
No, you weren't. Because you don't even understand what atheism is.
You guys are not happy.
Just because you weren't doesn't mean that I am. Or doesn't mean that I'm not. Just because you weren't doesn't mean that I'm not. Because I was a Christian. I was born into and indoctrinated into it. And I deconverted. And I am happier now as an atheist than I ever was as a Christian. AJ Heeb with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. As amazing viewers, I'll reward that pandering. I'll always pander to you, AJ. Absolutely. And thank you so much for the super chat. I do appreciate it. All of those really, really help me to be able to do this and keep making content. And, so I can always be here hanging out with you guys. Jack Bird says, my dick is optimized for black holes. Oh, if that was not a comment on the gravitational effect of your wife's ass, I have no idea. Boomer says, you have never seen the White Cliffs of Dover. Oh, Martin H says, he's been in my shoes? Damn it, now I have to buy some new ones. Yes, Boomer, thank you. Eternity devalues everything, because if something lasts forever, then what is the point of it? Especially in heaven, when it lasts forever and it doesn't change. What is the point? Time, the fact that things die and things don't last forever, that makes things valuable. That they don't last forever. That we have to fight so hard to keep old things intact. The amount of money that is poured into trying to keep the Mona Lisa together. The amount of money that is poured into trying, in the Smithsonian. They're valuable because normally these things would be lost. But we hold on to them. And we try to keep them there, but eventually they will go away as well.
All of you have an existential crisis.
Nope.
That you're filling up an empty void with drugs, probably sex.
Well, I mean, when I was a kid, I did a lot of drugs and had a lot of sex, but I don't now because I'm married, so.
Pornography, work, money.
Ain't nothing wrong with pornography. Work is good. I mean, depending upon it, as long as you like the work that you're doing. And money's okay because money helps you get things. I'm not saying that money can buy you happiness. Money doesn't buy you happiness. But money is always good to have. It's better to have it than to not have it. That's the truth.
You know, yourself. You worship yourself, probably.
See, now he's just gotten into add-ons. And I don't worship anything. I don't worship myself. I don't. I don't have that kind of reverence for anything. Enough to worship it. Yeah. And yes, Sir Little Wolf. Isn't that what sex is? Filling voids? It absolutely is. Sometimes 3 voids at once.
You know, you're filling up this empty void. It can only be filled up with God.
That begging the question, assuming God exists, which has not been demonstrated to be true. So, sorry.
You know, you might say, yeah, I'm happy. You're not. You're just getting temporary pleasures from dopamine hits from this dying world.
Well, I will agree with that. I am getting temporary dopamine hits from laughing at his cringe. I absolutely am. Because it's fucking hilarious.
You know?
So little that I just choked on my cigarette.
It's just dopamine hits. You run out of something to do, on to the next dopamine hit, and then on to the next dopamine hit.
Yeah, welcome to human life, dude. Welcome to human existence. Like, welcome to it. Okay, you think... Things, I mean, literally, since life was a literally hourly struggle to survive 2 million years ago, when our earliest ancestors were trying to basically forage survival from, like, moment to moment. Food, shelter, staying away from predators, stuff like that. From that moment, it's always been about dopamine hits. We always seek out the things that make us feel better. Yes, thank you, Jefferson Spatchcock. Boom. Christianity is a dopamine hit. You get off when you pray. It makes you feel good. The same effect that is occurring in your brain when you pray is the same one that occurs in my brain when I get an achievement on Xbox Live.
And then, you know, that's all it is. And then you just die. Everybody you love is just going to die and become non-existent for eternity.
Yes.
Why even...
Yes, appreciate them while they're here.
Raise your children. Why even teach them ethics and morality?
Because, well, I would teach them that because the social order is important to me. And I want them to get the most out of the life that they have. But then again, I don't have kids. I choose not to have children. Now, not because I don't think this... Just because I don't think I'd be a very good parent. That's for every person to decide on their own. You know, my childhood was rough. I'll let my brother have kids. My brother can have kids, and I'll be the cool uncle. But I choose not to just because psychologically, I don't think I'm fit. You know, and while I would try to do everything in my power to give the kid everything, because that's my responsibility, is to raise that child, and I believe in these things, but I literally, I don't want to. But when it comes down to it, the whole point is if you want to have kids, is so they can get something out of life. Maybe do something with the world. And yes, Cindy Sue, he's scared of death. He's too scared of death. They're like, death is terrifying. Despite the fact that he is in a death cult that's longing for death so he can go to heaven and be with God. It's a death cult. And yet he's so terrified of death.
Who cares? You know? It's all going to go. Why did you even create children in the first place if you're an atheist? How selfish and weird.
Selfish to create to have kids. This projection is, I mean, it's just disgusting at this point. It's cringe beyond belief. This is why I think he's a troll. I think he's legit. That's right, Clive Wells. I collect ghosts instead of kids. I collect sources of alternative energy instead of kids. And thank you. Yes, I love that Deadpool quote. Life is an endless series of train wrecks with only brief commercial-like breaks of happiness. So, and people have kids because that's kind of the survival prerogative. People want to have kids. They're driven to they're driven to procreate. So whether they believe in God or not doesn't preclude people having children. It just means that they're doing it to satisfy something with themselves, maybe have the opportunity to give someone a better life than they had, maybe to pass on the knowledge that they have so that someone else can can pick up pick up where they left off when they die and carry their legacy forward. There's hundreds of reasons as to why. Most of which are not selfish. Only reason it would be selfish if you had kids just so you could get the tax break and you didn't give a shit about the kid. That's right, I wrote another name. I don't need kids. Have you seen my live chats?
I believe in we're just going to become non-existent for eternity, but let me create a bunch of children.
Sure.
All right, guys.
Why not?
Again, I love you. If you don't love me.
No, you don't. You literally spent the last 5 minutes ad-homing atheists, telling them that they're worthless, that they're unhappy, that they're just walking through life trying to fill this void in their soul, and they're gonna go to hell. And then you turn around and say that you love them. This dude is full of shit. He is straight full of shit.
I don't care. I love you still. I want you to go to heaven. God bless you and your...
You wouldn't know. And besides the fact, here's what's really fucked up. And something I've never gotten a Christian to answer. You notice how Otangelo has run away. At least I think he's run away. He's not talking anymore. But the one thing that gets me is this. God, in their worldview, God would be willing to put people in hell. This is one thing that never made sense to me. God would be willing to put people in hell for not believing in it. And yet, some people I can tell you this. My mother would tell anybody, if she was in heaven and wasn't with her son and didn't get to see her son ever, that would be hell for her. Going to heaven and not seeing your loved ones and not being present, real, and recognizing that they're not there and they're never going to be there, they're going to be in hell eternal, that would be hell for her. Oh, UKPI with the super chat. £2 says, I'm going to be a granddad in October. Whoop, whoop. Congratulations, UKPI. Way to go. Going to be the cool granddad, spoil the shit out of those kids, and then hand them right back to the parents. You do that, man. Spoil the shit out of them. So, this is the big thing. My mother would my mother would straight up say that being in hell and not being able to see her husband, or being in heaven and not beher husband or her sons, or some family members that she cares about deeply, would be like hell for her, because then she would be aware that her loved ones are in hell, and that would make heaven a hell for her, because there'd be nothing she could do. It would be the ultimate helplessness. But God is willing to do this, to turn people's heavens into hell with the system He's set up. And then they'll say, no, you wouldn't be aware. Well, if you're not aware of it, then you're not you. It's not you that goes up there. Because if you lose any part of your awareness, then you cease to be you. You then become something else that is conscious, that is only conscious of what God wants you to be conscious of, which makes no sense. If I'm not going to be me when I go up there, then why do I care? Because it's not going to be me that experiences it. It's not going to be a continuation. I'm not going to I'm 80 years old and then I die and then all of a sudden I wake up and I'm there. That's not me, if this system holds true. So this is why it's problematic. Best use tag, bridge the divide. Yeah, if you want to catch my attention, read my messages, Aristotle. Let me see here. You aren't yourself. Okay, you aren't yourself. Boomer says you aren't yourself in heaven because it doesn't suit your desires. Your desires change to suit heaven, which is bullshit. Yeah, if you're not yourself, then why would I give a shit? Why would I care? Because it's not me that would be up there experiencing it. This wouldn't be JL going up to heaven and be like, oh man, I'm in heaven. It's amazing. I'm going to go hang out with my friends. No. Then why would I give a damn? If I'm just gonna go up there and be like forever? What the fuck? That's the idea of going up to a being stuck in a place for eternity and just to worship this one thing. Even if I was a mindless, especially if I had to be made a mindless robot to do it, to endlessly worship this god, like I was on a permanent high, like like this. That's hell to me. That would be hell. The heaven that is described in the Bible, the heaven that these people are fighting for, is like hell to me. Flat out. Ugly German Truth says, because Deus Vult, God wants you to be this prayer drone in eternal bliss about giving glory to the Lord. Why does he need it? And that's another, and I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. Why does he need it? Get a shorter name already, JL. BTD. Oh, Boomer says, I pray that JL reads the messages. I have no need of an at. Yes, AJ Heap, agreed. Inescapable eternity is hell, no matter who is around. Exactly. Inescapable eternity is hell. I wouldn't want it to end. As a matter of fact, if the choice would be heaven or annihilation, I would choose annihilation over the two. If I had my choice of where to go, I would just choose annihilation. That's it. I'm done. I'm literally done. Unless I was me and then I could continue exploring the universe and do cool stuff and do whatever, but that's not what they're proposing. So I went through this and listened to this guy, and now we're at the end of the video where he's just placating and being like, I love you.
Thank you guys for watching.
And he's trash. Like, he's straight trash. And I was hoping he would come up to, hey, Omni Oros Boros is in the house. Good to see you. Omni says, what's up, Beard Daddy? What's happening? I actually sent a message to the guy saying I was going to be reviewing his video and explaining why it's absolutely dumb. Yes, you're right, Ronello's name. What does God need with the starship? Yep. But yeah, I was going to do that as a created video, and I realized it was just too out of control. It's just too nuts, and I was like, oh, I can't do this. So bad stuff. Just not good. I was also hoping. I sent him a message. He has not responded to me. He may be busy. But I also sent a message to MC Toon because I want to have I've been meaning to have a conversation with MC Toon for a while. I have a tremendous amount of respect for MC Toon. MC Toon is also a Christian, but we agree on so many things. But I've always wanted to suss out his reasoning behind this. I wanted to get to it, and I've had an intellectually honest conversation with a Christian who pretty much fell on the sword and was like, you know what? It's irrational. I know it is. It's an emotional appeal. It makes me feel better about things. I hold on to it because it's, because I like it and it serves me psychologically. I'm like, okay, fantastic. That's it. He knew it was irrational. He admitted to it. He agrees with it. And he doesn't go out there trying to enforce it on other people. I was like, I had nothing. And I'm kind of wondering what MC Toon's position is, regarding this, or how he kind of fits it around there, or how he changes up, his faith, or what he accepts in the faith. Does he cherry pick it all? I doubt he does. But I wanted to get, and you're right, Sir Little Wolf. MC Toon is respectful. I really, really want to talk to him about this and kind of break this down because I want to get a sense of, as intelligent as he is, as intellectually honest as he is, and as I would imagine, he is not prone to all of the egregious errors that theists make to justify their positions, to justify their worldview. I'm kind of curious where it goes from that, I really, really am. Oh, let me see. And I have some other ones. I actually pulled 4 more videos about questions Questions for Atheists that I think I'm going to compile into one video. So, Charlie Wolf said gave you my reasoning. Where did I miss it? Did I miss it? Charlie, did I miss it? Did I miss your message? I apologize if I did. I'm not seeing it. No, Omni. I'm not still reading the Christian comic books. I actually put it up. I put it up in the library. So I'm not reading it. I just wanted to go over that thing with how the this comic book was trying to convey these stories about the martyrs for Christianity when it's all lies and full of shit. I wanted to expose. I got it cheap, and it's a terrible reference book. So I may take it to like the bookstore and just sell it off to get my see if I can get like half my money back. But I got it for that one look at it. I did find it funny that I want to cover this before Charlie Welch. Oh, gave you my your reason. Charlie Welch gave me his reasoning. That may be it. Agreed. Tony Regime. MC Toon doesn't use his religion as the basis for his arguments, and he keeps his faith private, and I can respect that. Agreed. As far as I know, he's never had a conversation about this thing with anybody. I would like to have that conversation with him. I kind of want to get to the whole. I kind of want to get to the bottom of that. I really do. I want him to help me to understand. Is the whole point. Especially as a Christian, when he sees what's going on in the world, when he sees what's happening in the world around him, and the whole rebuke those. I'm kind of curious where he falls in that. Skitch Crasher for $2 American dollars, for $2 freedom dollars says, hello, JL. Good to see you, Skitch Crasher. Thank you so much for being here, bud. Also, a member of the Godless Army. Thank you so much for the support. So, I see. Oh, Facty's here? I think I see people. Yes, there he is. Facty says, okay, I'm done slapping some beaver. So, hi, y'all. Good to see you, Facty. Thanks so much for hanging out. Yeah, and Martin H., I'm very keen to have this convo. And every time I try to set it up with MC2, I know he's very busy. He has a large channel. He's got a lot of stuff that he does. He's constantly debating flat earthers. I know that he's busy. But I'm hoping, every time I try to set it up, we always run into something. And that comment I made, there was a comment I made during his live stream I'd also like to talk with that guy, the guy that MC Toon last debated. I'd like to talk with him about his religious beliefs. I was never able to find his contact info. I'd like to have a conversation with that dude and bring him on the channel and talk to him. But that last debate that MC Toon was doing that I kind of caught the tail end of, I said that theists were scared and didn't want to engage with me. That they're all scared and they won't address what they believe and why. And I did not mean that to say that. I realized when it came out, I was kind of like, it kind of sounded like I was saying MC Toon was scared. But I don't think that he is. I just think he's extremely busy. Is all it is. Boomer, I see you sent me a question. What did you say? You said, here's a picture of a $19 steak. That is a delicious looking steak. That really, really is. Let me see here. That's a delicious looking steak. It really is. Very tasty. Let me see. Oh. Okay, I can write you a response. I can. Cindy Sue says, JL, why don't you ask MC Toon for the contact info? I haven't heard from him. So I don't know. He may be busy with family. I know he's got kids and he's got a lot of stuff that's on his plate. He's a very, very busy dude, and I don't want to bother him. I don't want to be like the guy going, hey, MC Toon, come talk to me. Come talk to me. I don't want to be that guy. I know that he'll make himself available when he's available, when he can. It's just a conversation I've been longing to have for like 3 months now. And you're damn right, Omniorus Bros. There's nothing wrong with my wife's beaver. Nothing wrong at all. Doing good today, Facty. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Let me see. Martin says he did seem to be up for it. I think he probably sees it as a conversation that will have to be had sooner than later. I hope so. Yes, this channel does have stakes. It's always had stakes. Caliban's in the house. Says, hey, OJL. Hey, Caliban. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate you hanging out. It seems like we're getting some overflow from the Brainy Beaver stream, because Brainy was live for a minute. Hell, so you don't want to be Otangelo. Oh, JL now just stands for just longing. I love having an acronym for my name. People can put so many things in there. It's fantastic. MC Toon, yes, Richard Taylor. MC Toon is the nicest guy. I've chatted away on a chat, and when he did a premiere once, he's amazing. MC Toon is fantastic. It's Killicuts is in the house. McToon was happy to debate you. He said, I didn't want to debate him. I wanted to have a conversation and kind of suss out his reasoning, like his reasoning and his methodology, and kind of like how it factors in with his scientific understanding of reality, how that plays a part, and of course, and his role when it comes to like what he sees going on with Christian fundamentalism and Christian nationalism, and what his thoughts on that are. I kind of want to suss out like where he's at. You know, like, does he cherry pick? I don't think he does, but does he cherry pick the Bible to make sense of it? Is he just kind of like one of these kind of like Jesus plus nothing kind of guys? You know, interesting stuff. I'm kind of curious. I'm curious. I have a bunch of questions. Let's see. Raven Darkstar says, I still say Odin created the universe by making the turtle throw up, and it didn't like it. Tony Regime says, I thought JL stood for Juicy Lucy. It could. It just might. You never know. Clive Wells, Jesus Lovecraft Warren. That is also possible. Entirely possible. I actually kind of like that one. Jebediah Lawnmower. I like it, like the German troops. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Jebediah Lawnmower. I just kind of like that. Oh, Jebediah or Jedediah? I like the Jedediah. Jedediah. And Martin H says, personally, I always prefer the JL Truth tag. I did that so tongue-in-cheek when JM was like, was relevant. And I wanted to make fun of him by doing the JL Truth. But it didn't last very long. Because then people started saying JM Truth when they were referring to me. Do not give away my secret, Boomer, that I am a Lovecraftian old one. Here, just playing with you puppets. Playing with you meat puppets. You meat popsicles. John Rapp is in the house. Good to see you, John Rapp, member of the Godless Army. Thank you so much. Is seeking a comment worth acknowledging. Please provide a topic. Absolutely. We were just discussing Christian questions. You know what? Since I can't get MC Toon on, I can't do that. And you guys seem to like the. You guys seem to really dig. You know what? You guys seem to really dig the atheist the answering questions from theists. You guys seem to really dig it. So, what the heck am I doing? There we go. So I'll tell you what I'll do. Yeah, I don't have a beard. These are tentacles. Davy Jones style. Let's check it out. Because you never know. Maybe MC2 will become available and I'll be able to chat with him. There's another question. Should I know that OG Goblin's in the house. Yeah, how many minutes was he relevant for? Negative. I am a meat popsicle. Let me jump to this one. So I came across this one as well. Y'all seem to dig the answering questions, and I like answering questions. I'm always thoughts. Boomer, my thoughts on that is it's Morbid time. I'm always up for answering their questions, and this is from Braxton. From Trinity Radio, and I came across this one. I actually did a video where I responded to 10 questions beforehand and broke that down, and then he released another one. This is his most recent 10 questions. I can't remember his last name. I know it's Braxton something.
Last year, I made a video, 10 questions for atheists.
I responded. I actually did a response to it.
That's in a playlist that has 12 episodes, as I listened to what atheists said and then interacted with that.
He never interacted with mine, but I was just saying.
There were a lot of responses, and I still get responses to this day from that video. Now, admittedly, there were some things in that video that might have been tongue-in-cheek, but
which was pointed out many times, and it wasn't. You're saying he's saying that Hunter Braxton. Thank you. Or Braxton Hunter? I think it's maybe it's Hunter Braxton. I don't know. I know it's like the whitest name possible. I know how that sounds, but it's like super white guy. Super white guy. It always struck me. Hunter Braxton. I was like, wow. just super, super Caucasian name. It just struck me as that, you know. It could be like Phil Jones. But a lot of people pointed out that he's saying it's tongue-in-cheek. There was a good level of dishonesty in his questions and some ignorance. So, and he was like, oh, it was tongue-in-cheek. I meant it kind of like this. Nah, he's pulling that whole kind of context card, which I don't believe. So,
Genuinely
yeah,
wanted to hear the
I'll let him save face.
answers to those questions. Quite a few atheists seemed to appreciate that I was trying to understand their positions in a greater way, but many still didn't think my questions were genuine.
That's just because of either it's Braxton Hunter, thank you. And that's because of the way he presented the questions. It was just, maybe it was his style, I don't know, but there was something disingenuous about it. And yes, you're right, Ugly German Truths attempted gotcha. Yeah, that was the problem that a lot of people had with it. But I actually haven't watched this one all the way through. I just happened to pull it.
A lot of people also thought that I was too wordy for the question to come out in a precise way.
You were very wordy. That made the answers more complex than they needed to be in order to address, because he would ask a question and then he would put a bunch of caveats all around it to kind of pigeonhole the question to only be answered by specifically. So that's why it felt dishonest. Is he was like, here's a question. Oh, and this, and this. So
here I'm asking these questions as simply and concisely as I possibly can and without any snark whatsoever. I genuinely want to know the answers to these questions.
Maybe. We'll find out.
Question 1. If you have a deconversion story from any world religion, would you mind sharing that story? If you grew up in a non-religious household, what was it like to experience being around other people who were raised religious?
So I people have heard my deconversion story that I was in church and we were singing. It was after hymns, and my pastor, who's a good man. My pastor was a great. He's now retired, but my pastor was a really good, more of a philosopher than a pastor. He cracked a joke in his sermon about the Baptists, and everyone in the congregation was just like laughing. Of course, I think I was like 12 at the time, and I'd already been through confirmation, I'd been baptized and everything, and so here I was, and then all of a sudden, and that dawned on me. It was weird. It was like, why are we laughing at the Baptists? The Baptists are essentially in the same boat as we are. They're believers. Why would we make fun of them? Why would we crack jokes at their expense when they're not here? That didn't sit right with me. And that was literally the first question. It was kind of like, wait a minute, why the disparity between us and Baptists? Why would we make fun of them? And I understand it was tongue in cheek. It was like, oh, those foot washing prudes. I get that, but that seemed weird to do it in church. You know, when we're all doing this, we're all in the same place, kind of doing the same thing, talking about the same God. That was the first moment. And then from there on, it was like a little over a decade-long period of education, experience, speaking to people, and trying to find the truth. All the meanwhile, I was actually in the Boy Scouts, and one of the 12 laws of scouting is reverence, which I was not. I had to feign it. Unfortunately, this is the way it was, and we're going through, and it didn't make sense. So if this didn't make sense, what else doesn't make sense? So that journey ultimately ended with me being an atheist. That was the only rational conclusion. And I went from Methodist to non-denominational to spiritual and I went through many steps because for the longest time I didn't want to let go. I just emotionally I couldn't let go of it until eventually it was the only thing it was the rose door from the Titanic. Atheism was, and I had to jump on that bad boy. Yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying those. I'm glad you're enjoying those emojis, Boomer. Well, I tell you, when we unlock, I think we're like 12 members away from unlocking the next emoji. We will get there. We will get there and unlock the next emoji soon. It's another custom one that I've created, so I hope that you'll like it. But to answer this question, that was my deconversion story, and what it was like being around Christians when I was a Christian. Just fine. They always seemed a little pretentious to me because I don't like fake people. I've never liked fake people. I don't trust fake people, and it's always been kind of easy for me to suss fake people out. I don't know. It's just, it just stands out like a sore thumb to me. Maybe it's behavior, their behavior, I don't know. But I've never liked fake people, and there were more fake people in church than there were in being an atheist. Now I deal with fake people on the other side of the aisle, and I surround myself with real people.
Question number 2.
Take it easy. Donnie does that. Thanks for hanging out. I do appreciate it.
Is there anything that Christian apologists or philosophers bring that you actually do consider to be good evidence for God? And if not, how do you define evidence?
Oh, so this is basically saying that obviously if we say that it's bad evidence, then he wants to know if we're operating from the same definition of evidence as he is. So he's automatically inferring, or not automatically implying, he's implying that we could be operating from two different definitions of evidence. Now, as far as like evidence goes, evidence in and of itself, I adhere to essentially like kind of like the Oxford definition of evidence, the available body of facts and information indicating whether a belief or proposition is true or valid. And so basically all of the facts surrounding a claim, and then everything that supports that claim, that is the evidence that supports it. If that evidence can either be knocked down or it cannot be knocked down. That's why they're facts. So that's essentially what the evidence is. And those facts can take many forms. It could be physical evidence, it could be witness evidence, it could be a number of things. And if the preponderance of evidence supports a claim, that claim is likely true, or that claim is true, as far as we know. And if that evidence, we keep looking at the evidence keeps falling apart because we realize it's faulty, or it was misattained, or it's confirmation bias, or it's bad reasoning, or whatever, or it's logically fallacious, then the evidence doesn't support it. So you could say that there's lots of evidence out there for God, and all of it is bad. There's nothing that supports the claim. So I've never seen anything. All I've ever been presented for as far as evidence for God is like arguments from incredulity, arguments from ignorance, or appeals to emotion. Look at the trees, shit like that.
Straightforwardly, I'm a dog person. Here's my dog, Indiana. Dogs, cats, both, or neither?
I don't know why that's relevant, but I'm a dog person. Obviously, I have 3 of them, and I love dogs. I love rescue dogs. I love giving dogs safe, happy homes and learning. And I love taking what each dog teaches me about my relationship with them, and teaches me as a dog parent, and then when the next dog comes along, passing it on to that dog. Each dog makes me a better person. It makes me just a better person in general. And I take that new information, the new things they teach me, and then I pass it on, and I use that with the next dog to give, because rescuing one dog will not change the world. But for that one rescued dog, the world changes forever.
Did Jesus exist as a single historical individual? And if so, how reasonable do you think it is for people to hold the position that Jesus did not exist?
Okay, so that depends. This is kind of an open question, because did Jesus exist as a historical figure walking? Was there an itinerant rabbi named Yeshua who was wandering around Iron Age Palestine, causing a kerfuffle with the powers that be in Judaism? Yes, agreed. I would agree with that. There's evidence that this person existed. Like, he walked around, it's like there was an itinerant rabbi that eventually, pissed off the Pharisees and then wound up getting himself crucified. No more than the Iron Age Palestine David Koresh. Just because he existed doesn't mean he was the Son of God, doesn't mean he performed miracles, doesn't mean he was divine, doesn't mean he was supernatural in any way. It just means that there was a guy who walked the earth that people wrote stories about. That's pretty much it. And so it's two different things. Yes, I can believe that Jesus walked the earth. It does not entail that he was any of the things that people claimed him to be. Just like there's anecdotal evidence that, which is not good evidence, but there's anecdotal evidence that Hercules was a real person. But all of the things attributed to him were pretty much made up shit. But it's completely anecdotal. Not to mention, Tacitus wrote about both Christ and Hercules. And if you don't accept that Hercules existed, then Tacitus was writing about mythological figures. Most likely, the Christ he was writing about was mythological. So, was there likely a dude that walked around? Yeah. Does that make him magical? Does it make him Magic Man? No, absolutely not. That is an illogical inference.
Of your Christian friends and family members, which one would stand the best chance of convincing you or persuading you than the others? even if you think none of them stand a chance. Some stand more of a chance than others, right? Who would that be, and why?
None of them. None of them. The only person that I know that's still that's in my life that is still a like a devout Christian, would be, actually technically there are three. There is there is Angela's parents and my mother. I don't know what my brother's status is because of the kind of like, because of, you know, the kind of drama between my mother and I haven't spoken to my mom in a long time. I haven't spoken to my brother either. If they ever happen to see this, you know, I mean, well, if my mother ever happens to see this, she knows what's going on. Nonetheless, but I think it's no, they could not convince me. In fact, the reason we haven't spoken is because of this issue, which is a shame, which is a damn shame, because I pointed something out, and I understand the idea that she's my mom, and you know, a certain amount of kind of leeway should be given, but when there's certain lines of thinking that are demonstrably bad, then, and that was what it is, that she explained her reasoning on a particular thing. I honestly can't even remember, but I pointed out the irrationality in that, and she got very, very upset with me, and she hung up on me. That was the last conversation we had, was that she got mad at me and she hung up, because I think in her eyes I was basically saying that, you know, in her eyes I was saying that she was never going to see her husband again, never going to see my dad again, because he passed away back in 2003. Or 2004, sorry, he passed away in 2004, and I think that's what it was. It upset her, and she and I really haven't spoken. We may speak again in the future, I don't know, but it's up to her. The ball is in her court. So, but yeah, none of them would be capable of changing my mind. They've tried, but I can always suss out that their arguments are bad.
What's your favorite film or television series?
Oh, that is a hard fucking question. So many. Oh man, it really depends. It's gonna come down to genre. It really is. Horror genre, probably Friday the 13th the series. Like for horror, probably Friday the 13th the series. Young adult, kind of like, you know, when I was a teen, probably Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I know is some horror, but it's also drama, soapy kind of stuff. Science fiction, Fringe. There's so many, but there's also ones that I just love, and I would Firefly, Battlestar Galactica. You know, so many, and then of course comedy. There's so many, you know. And as far as films go, that's an even harder question. I mean, Buddy Christ, doesn't it pop? I still need to get myself that action figure. I still need to get one. I still need to get myself a Buddy Christ. I'm surprised I don't have one yet. Let's see what this one is.
Contingency arguments for God's existence can be framed in a number of ways, obviously, but pick one, and what's your favorite response to this sort of contingency argument? Or if you're really ambitious, what's your favorite response to contingency arguments in general?
So arguments from contingency that essentially, going back to Aquinas and the first mover, that everything that exists at one point didn't exist, has so that what we observe, everything is contingent upon something else. I am contingent upon my parents are contingent on their parents, so on and so forth, that everything comes from something, and everything needed something prior to it to exist beforehand. And what he's going after is, X-Files, thank you, Sir Little Wolf, X-Files as well. Ooh, a Buddy Christ emoji. Put a 1 in the chat if you think there should be a Buddy Christ emoji. Put a 1 in the chat. I know it's kind of goofy, it's not one that I make it myself, but put a 1 in the chat if there should be a Buddy Christ emoji. But the arguments from contingency that everything must come from something. It's basically I believe, let's see if I can get this correctly. This is an argument from induction, in that what we observe is we observe contingency, so therefore everything must be contingent on something else. So therefore the universe must be contingent on something before it, so on and so forth. And then what do you eventually get to? And then it's what it's weighing is, or what it's kind of like anchoring itself on, is they assume that an infinite regress of contingency is impossible, because then you never arrive at the point of the present. That is not true. There is nothing illogical, nothing logically contradictory about an infinite regress. Even numbers go back. If numbers could go back infinitely, they can go forward infinitely. You can still hit the number 7. Just because your numbers go back infinitely, it just means eventually it will take a long time to get to 7. Or 8, or 9, or 10, or whatever. So the moment could still arrive. We're just at that point, and then we have infinite numbers stretching out in front of us, going down that road. So there's nothing logically contradictory about it, and there's no evidence to suggest that even if the universe were contingent upon one particular thing, that one particular thing is an intelligence. That is an illogical inference. If I got that correct. Ooh, lots of ones I see in there. Lots of ones for the Buddy Christ emoji. 2 worth ignoring. John Rapp. Boomer says 2 as well.
On your understanding of Christianity, what does it take for a person to become a Christian and experience everlasting life?
Fear and confirmation bias. Oh, and to experience everlasting life, they'll never experience everlasting life. Everlasting life is not a thing that occurs. Why anybody would want to experience it, I have no idea, because that would be hell. That'd be like literally that's like the definition of hell. Stuck in an eternal, perpetual existence would be hell. Especially if you retain any level of your human awareness. If you're you when you're up in heaven, that will very quickly become hell. Unless, like I said, you're just like this prayer robot that's just like high on giving praise, which is not ostensibly not you anymore. That's a prayer robot that has your face or whatever. But fear and confirmation bias. Fear of what you don't know, fear of death, and then trying to find whatever you can get in order to assuage that fear. Typically confirmation bias. Believe in it first, and then go looking for evidence, and then you color the evidence through the lens of your prior held belief. So, Vestia Frey is in the house. Good to see you. It says blow to the head and loss of reasoning. One could say, definitely. No, don't forget Cthulhu. Never forget Cthulhu. Over 1 billion devoured.
Whether you think anything in the Bible is true or not, do you think that the Bible, or any passage in the Bible, seems to teach eternal conscious suffering in hell? Maybe you think it teaches universal ultimate salvation or annihilation, the idea that people will no longer be conscious but will be annihilated and no longer have a conscious experience of anything. And I should say, I'm partly asking that question because a friend of mine, Chris Date at Rethinking Hell, would be happy to have a discussion or a debate on the subject of whether any Bible passage teaches eternal conscious torment.
Okay, so if I remember correctly, there's a passage in Matthew that gives a concept of hell, and that is Matthew. If I remember correctly, let me see. Matthew 13:42 says, "And shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Hell is forever. All who enter hell. Blah blah blah." Let's see. So, where in the Old Testament does it talk about hell? Hell as the place of weeping and gnashing of teeth is not mentioned in the Old Testament. The term hell derives from Hades, which is a Greek term that appears only 10 times in the New Testament. So, yeah, I think it's Matthew 13:42. "And shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth," is essentially what they're talking about. And that attributes to Hades, which is then, where hell is derived from. And then, of course, it talks about the place where Satan is, where the pit or the abyss, where that is, where it's kind of like connected there. While the Bible doesn't explicitly say anybody everybody's people are going to hell, that's a leap that is made by fundamentalist Christians to interpret that they're going to go where Satan goes, where the disbelievers go, and because Satan is in the abyss, they're in the pit of fiery torment, the lake of fire, where they will burn forever. And so these are a bunch of leaps of association that they're making. Let me see here. Last 2 questions. What's more compelling, the carrot or the stick? The concept, yes, or Ugly German Jews. The concept refers to Hades, but the name comes from the Norse pantheon, the goddess Hel or Hela, who rules over their underworld. Yep. There's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of there's a lot of European, or what was it called? Indo-European influence in the understanding of Christianity from the offshoot from Judaism. It gets really, really wild as the Roman Empire kind of expands out, and then starts embracing Indo-European stuff, and then of course the stuff out of Norse and Greek mythology, Roman mythology, Norse mythology, everything around there, and then Germanic faiths. It's a big melting pot. Essentially, it's kind of like America.
What do you think is the most dangerous or problematic issue that theologically conservative Christians hold to? And I'm talking about an issue or a position, not a person, a movement, or a party. Well, that's the list.
Let me see that again.
Issue or a position, not a...
What is the most dangerous issue Christians hold? Or that's a kind of a badly worded question.
Christians hold to is eternal conscious torment. What do you think is the most dangerous or problematic issue that theologically conservative Christians hold to? And I'm talking about...
Okay, so he frames it as theologically conservative Christians. So fundamentalist Christians tend to hold towards they tend to cherry pick the Levitical laws, which is deeply problematic. They also they hold to the things that help to justify the violent spread of Christianity, which is problematic. And I think that might be the most dangerous because holding onto these can drive people to do really, really irrational things, especially to justify the holding of their worldviews. Then I would say probably those fundamentalist Christians or those theologically conservative individuals who hold to like Levitical law and think that it applies today. That there are people out there that should be stoned to death for being gay or for being LGBTQ. That equate certain minorities or certain underrepresented groups, that they are monsters or whatever. I think that kind of crap is the most dangerous because it can lead to violence in support of what they believe. And I think that's
an issue or a position, not a person, a movement, or a party. Well, that's the list for 2021. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video, and I sure hope you will respond in...
Well, that was much shorter than I was anticipating, because his other one was considerably longer, but he also asked more questions in the previous one. So, but that was Braxton Hunter with his questions. Let's remove that from the studio. Let me check my Discord. I see Rodent sent me something. Breaking news: Salt, Jam, Truth, and More. Oh, it was Writer of Dinosaurs' new one. Oh, Jam Truth is looking bad these days. I hate to say it. That dude's looking rough. Like, really, really rough. Just, I mean, if you... What is this? Straight and level truth. Yeah, so JM is getting back into the flat earth crap. Again, that's a damn... should have let it go. Let me see here. A renewal of life seems a pretty low bar to take for a culture as a motif. True, ugly German truth, absolutely. Let me see here. Ugly German says, I think that there's John's Apocalypse, aka the Book of Revelation, speaks of unbelievers being cast into the lake of fire, which is the second death after the first death and being cast into Hades. And it says only one revelation, and it is not Old Testament, so not fitting Jail's question. Or technically, it was Braxton's question. I think it was Braxton's question. But that would, I mean, I have to look at that. Book of Revelation. Unbelievers? Will unbelievers be annihilated or suffer eternally? So, Revelation 14, 9 through 11 is not written for unbelievers, and for John did not write the book for them. But this is totally casting out the idea that pretty much the Book of Revelation was pretty much code surrounding the Nero Revidivus legend, which is the idea that people believed that Nero was going to return, which was terrifying for them because of his persecution of Christians. Let me see here. At the beginning, let's see. The book of Revelation describes the 7 worst years of human history. And no, I'm not exaggerating. Slides, blah, blah, blah. Revelation 21:8. But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. So, yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So, that would be it, in a part of, like, I guess, the apocalypse. Those who persist in unbelief will face a reckoning. In Revelation 21:8, the faithless are among those who will inherit hell, the lake that burns with fire and brimstone. And yes, and they will, which is the second death. Gotcha. Okay. Oh, I like this one. The book of Revelation was written in 220 AD and is self-fulfilling prophecy, mind control programming. It's damn clever writing what you want to achieve the end of days and getting a couple of billion indoctrinated souls to manifest it for you. And the people who wrote the Bible not only control the world today, but are following it like a playbook to neutralize the opposition. Some scary stuff out there. Some of the scary stuff is stuff like the family. That's a terrifying notion, is that idea. Yeah, Revelation 20:14 through 15. That's true. Everything is adopted. Pretty much everything in Christianity is adopted from other stuff and twisted to suit their own narrative. What is this, Ugly German Truths? Did you hear the new crap that allegedly Dave is up to now? His newest video was of a speech he held, and he went full Q, young Earth creationist, and chemtrails in addition to his usual flat Earth and pee. Allegedly, Dave is losing his mind. That dude is. That dude's like lost it. I don't know. I honestly couldn't comment on allegedly Dave. I already commented the fact that he was having his health problems, that constantly drinking urine that was messing him up because it was the ammonia content is what it was, because he would let it sit and evaporate on his desk near his bed and resulting in ammonia buildup in his body, and that was the reason he was having trouble breathing and resulted in the health issues that he had. AJ Heeb, wasn't he allegedly breatharian for a while too? He did claim that he was practicing breatharianism, and then he was caught cheating. I remember that he was actually caught cheating while he claiming to be a breatharian, and then he ceased being a breatharian. So I do know that. So yeah, so I wanted to look at some really, really bad questions from Christians, like really, really bad. And now I don't have to do a creative video about that one because it was turning into a royal shit show trying to write that script. That was a pain in the ass. Like, super pain in the ass. I was really hoping I could get MC Toon on. But I don't see him on. He's currently offline. Or he's idle on Discord, so I don't even think he's available. And unfortunately, I was kind of hoping to have Chili on. That would have been entertaining, to say the least. But yeah. Hopefully, eventually, I will get another theist on to talk to. I'm hoping the next one will be MC Toon, but of course, I'm always, willing to have someone on who's willing to have an honest conversation about these kinds of things. Let me see. So what was it? And can't lose. Let's see. There are crazy people out there armed with computers and internet access. We're doomed, Captain Mannering. Doomed. This is very true. Cindy Johnson, I would be very interested in having a conversation with him, and I know that plot hole kind of groaned at the idea of giving this guy any more screen time. I would have been interested to have a conversation with him after watching the video from Ironton Auditor and her experience of having him in her house. The travesty of him like living with them for a time being. Facty, that's gross. That's very gross. That's just gross. I don't know what his response would be. He emailed me back. He did. He emailed me back and said, where did it go? He said, live show, he said, I'm busy tonight, buddy. Sent from my iPhone. So that's pretty much it. Yeah. So unfortunately, he was busy. I'd love to have a chat with him. I really, really would. I think it would be interesting to get a side of it and to ask him some questions that I think he may be afraid of. I definitely want to ask him if he would charity fight me. I think that would be fun. He wouldn't. He wouldn't charity-fight me. I've got him by at least 4 inches and probably 100 pounds. So he wouldn't do that. Not to mention, my training is better than his, as evidenced by the videos I watched of him trying to be a boxer. Let's see, man. I think that we may be winding down. I think this may be about it. So, considering I was so bummed I couldn't get MC Toon on, but maybe I get him on the next live stream. So, in that case, unfortunately, so we got to watch a video and got to laugh at a really, really stupid Christian. He also didn't show up. I was hoping he would show up because I would love to bring Choose Jesus on and talk to him and actually have a face-to-face conversation with the dude and see how he acts and see how he behaves, especially when he knows he's been cornered. See if he would if he would hold his position or if he would freak out and do what Mr. Delaso did and start going and start trying to trigger me and stuff. And like, oh, I'm going to poke your buttons until you get so aggravated that you just kick me because I'm out of control. Chair fight. That would be fun. Super necessary human has a big hammer. This is true. He does have a big hammer. So I think a beard stroke. Yes, there you go. A beard stroke off. All right, so I think that I'll probably have to call it there. It's about 2.5 hours in, and I think that's a good place to stop. We watched some silly Christian stuff, and got to laugh at it, just kind of like laugh at the inanity of it. And hopefully on the next live stream, I'll get to talk with MC Toon. I was kind of like trying to draw it out, so maybe he'd become available. I was trying to stretch it to see if he would, but I don't think he will. Yeah, but he literally... Oh, he messaged me. Okay, he messaged me. He said busy. Sorry. All good. So, yep, everybody's busy. Everybody's too busy to talk. Everybody's too busy to chat with Jo. That's okay. I'll catch him on the next one. All right. So, as far as what's going on here, I've got new content coming up. I'm trying to maintain a regular created content schedule so that things will come out and you guys can enjoy it. And of course, we still got Week in Horror every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time. And I love having you guys out that one. The show is amazing. And that's pretty much it. So if Johnny sends me an invite, I may be on the plot hole tomorrow. I may not. I don't know. It depends upon if he wants me on. So I may see y'all there. But other than that, it's pretty much it. So a huge, giant thank you to everybody in the live chat. I do appreciate y'all being out here. Wow, the numbers were fantastic for me for a live stream. This was really, really fun. And I think I got up to 50, which is really cool. I know there's small numbers by comparison to other people, but this was kind of big for me. So I appreciate everybody coming out. This was a blast. And thank you to all of the super chats. Your super chats help to make this channel possible, and thank you to all of the members of the Godless Army, all the channel members. I hope you all enjoy all the very cool emojis that I make for you. Apparently, there's a lot of demand for a Buddy Christ emoji, which I can definitely make and unlock. We're only a few away from unlocking the next emoji, so if you want to become a member of the Godless Army, the link is down in the description. It's 99 cents a month. That's pretty much the way it's always going to be. That's pretty much all I value, pretty much as much as I value my content. So if you want to support the channel, you can that way, and I appreciate everybody coming out. And of course, you get access to all the cool emojis that I make for you, and of course, you get the little Godless Army icon, the atheist, the badge. So thank you all so very. Oh yes, you get the expanding mind badge. The longer you are a member of the Godless Army, that I took that meme and I made it into the badges. So the longer you're with me, the more your mind expands. I see what I did there. So thank you all very much. I do appreciate everybody hanging out. This has been a lot of fun. Yeah, I think that'll be it. So y'all have a fantastic night. And as always, be safe, be excellent to each other, and together we can bridge the divide.